In beautiful Reliance Stadium, it's a clash between Conference USA and Big 12 foes. Southern Mississippi has come with their contingent along with the Cowboys of Oklahoma State University. It's college football in a state where college football is king. The Houston Bowl coming at you right after this. A chance at bowl history continues today for players like Oklahoma State wide receiver Rashawn Woods, who leads the nation in touchdown receptions, and Southern Miss middle linebacker Rod Davis. Both are juniors, but both may be playing in their final college game. Capital One Bowl Week continues from Reliance Stadium. The Houston Bowl. Big 12 and Conference USA opponents. Southern Miss, the Golden Eagles at 7-5 against Oklahoma State, the Cowboys, also at 7-5. Hi, everybody. Mark Malone. Glad you could join us, along with my broadcast partner here, Sean Salisbury. And we have an interesting matchup for you. Southern Miss and Oklahoma State have faced each other in each of the last 3 years. This is their first bowl matchup. But Southern Miss comes in without their bell cow, the big running back Derek Nix, who's been suffering from a very serious kidney injury. It's going to put a lot of pressure on the young quarterback, Mickey D'Angelo. Sean.
Yeah, let's hope Derek is okay,
yeah,
Mark, as he goes on. But it is going to put pressure. D'Angelo and the running back James Wally, who will fill in. He started one game this year, rushed for over 100 yards. The key is going to be able to control the football for Southern Miss to keep that explosive offense off the field. But if they can't, Rod Davis, the middle linebacker, who's as active as there is, and for a middle linebacker, 10.5 sacks on Southern Miss, he's an unbelievable football player.
Leads the nation with 116 solo tackles. With more on Nick's situation, to introduce you to the third member of our broadcast team, Tracy Wilson. Tracy?
Thanks, guys. Well, a sad story. Derek Nick, last week he found out that a kidney disorder he's been suffering from the last 2 seasons has gotten progressively worse. It's an often fatal, non-curable disease that has affected both of his kidneys, and as a result, his football career is over. That leaves him just 12 yards shy of his old all-time rushing record. Derek Nix will be on the sideline today, though, cheering on his team, and they'll show their support for him with stickers on their helmets that say Baby Ball. That is his freshman year nickname. It's all to honor what they say is one of the school's best running backs ever. Back to you guys.
All right, Tracy, thank you very much. We'll hopefully talk to Derek Nix a little bit later in the show. Meanwhile, Oklahoma State comes in with what Derek Nix's brother, the defensive coordinator for Southern Miss, Tyrone Nix, says is the hottest offense in college football. And it all starts with Rashawn Woods, the wide receiver.
It sure does, Mark. And Southern Miss will try to give a lot of looks, but eventually Rashawn Woods is going to get man-to-man coverage. He's as explosive, probably the best player nobody ever talks about at wide receiver in the country. Big play guy, Mark, as you see, and nobody comes up bigger with those touchdowns. Leads the nation with 16 of them.
Tell you what, he is a big play wide receiver. Again, 16 touchdowns receiving, and they will find a way to get him the football in this football game. There's no doubt about it. At least 10 times.
That's exactly. And if they don't, Mark, they can run the football pretty well, too, so you got to pick your poison. And we know that the quarterback has a lot of responsibility at the line of scrimmage, does Josh Fields, and he'll get him in the right play, and that fella right there is going to get a lot of footballs.
The man that has the pleasure of coaching Mr. Woods, Les Miles, in his second season at Oklahoma State. 11-12 record, but I'll tell you what, they finished winning 5 of their final 6 football games to make it here today. And a former Michigan guy has got this football program headed in the right direction. Jeff Bauer, the head coach for Southern Miss, in his 25th year in some capacity with this football program, a 2-time Conference USA Coach of the Year. And again, has his hands full with this very big-time offense. His quarterback today, as we mentioned, Mickey D'Angelo. Had a problem with a rib early on in the week. Couldn't practice and really hasn't taken very many reps leading up to this Houston Bowl game.
Yeah, Mark, it's going to be interesting because his timing and the way he gets the ball to his guys will be so important, because the last thing you want to do for this Oklahoma State offense is leave them on the field and allow Woods and Fields to get rolling, because we saw Fields has thrown 18 touchdowns and 1 pick in the last 6 weeks.
Southern Miss won the toss and deferred. Kicks it off. T.D. Bryant. to the 33-yard line. Let's take a look at Oklahoma State's lineup, sponsored by Coors Light. At quarterback for the Cowboys, Josh Fields. A true sophomore, he already holds the school records for single-season passing. His main target, as we told you at the top of the show, is Rashawn Woods. Lewis is the other wideout. Junior Tatum Bell starts at running back and is averaging nearly 6 yards a carry. Denard is the fullback, and Bajama is the tight end. Seymour Shaw, the lone setback, stopped at the line of scrimmage. 1 yard. Up front for Oklahoma State, first-year starters at center and both guards, along with 2 senior tackles, Eaton and Russell. Together, they gave up just 17 sacks this year. That's a Big 12 best. The defensive front for Southern Miss, Jones and Jones on the left side, along with Scott. Terrell Paul playing the bandit position. You see him lined up all over the field. Defensive end standing up at linebacker. Second and 9. Fields and Woods not on the same page, almost interception. And that'll bring up 3rd and long. Here's the rest of the Golden Eagle defense. The lineup's presented by Coors Light. 3 All-Conference USA linebackers led by All-World Rod Davis, who collected 157 tackles, including 10.5 sacks. In the secondary, it's Brooks and Johnson at the corner. Ray, the strong safety. Ettrick Pruitt leads the team with 6 interceptions at the free safety position. Three wideouts for Les Miles and the Cowboys. Plenty of time for Fields. Fires the ball to Woods, who's close to a first down.
How easy does Rashawn Woods make it look, Mark? Using the football, catching the football with his hands. That's one of the great attributes that he has, getting his hands on it, not trying to body it. He doesn't drop a lot of balls. Nice pitch and catch, and we'll have a measurement here. You see there on the left part of your screen, just a nice simple curl route, sits in the hole, nice hand-eye coordination, give himself a chance for the first down, and they got it, Mark. 3rd down and long, tough to get those on a regular basis. They did against a good defense.
So Southern Miss's defense does what it wants in terms of creating 3rd and long and then give up the first down. So Oklahoma State now will have 1st and 10 from the 43-yard line. If you're
Southern Miss, Mark, and you can get them in a 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9 on a regular basis, you'll have a lot of success in this football game.
3 wide receiver set again. Shaw, the lone setback. Blitz, Shaw. Hit at the line of scrimmage, no gain. Rod Davis, the all-world linebacker, on the stop.
That's a shocker, huh? To the tune of 116 solos. It leads the nation in solo tackles this year. Inside back, extremely active, Mark. Have a look at him getting in there. Going to run right through, make a tackle, scrapes along the line. You don't get a body on him. He's going to make about 20 of those today. And he'll be tested, but you know what? You better get somebody at his legs or it's going to be a long day for Oklahoma State running the ball.
2nd and 10. The Cowboys spread them out with 4 wide receivers. Quick pass, the bubble screen to Woods. He crawls his way out to the 47-yard line, gain of 4. Leroy Johnson trips him up. We mentioned Josh Fields, just a sophomore, Sean, but a guy that really is dependent upon to make a lot of calls at the line of scrimmage.
Take a look at those numbers, Mark. 29 and 9. You'll take that ratio anytime. That'll put you near the top. When you can do that, you're not turning the ball over, and you're still taking shots down the field. That is unbelievable numbers by this sophomore quarterback.
Again, 3rd and long. Trips to the left side. Fields. Wide open to Lewis. He's hauled down at the 43-yard line. Joe Henley makes the stop after an 11-yard gain.
That's too simple there, Mark. We just got a little out cut. Going to run out here, sit down. Does a nice job off the blitz. Little adjustment. Fields finds him, sitting down. Way too easy. Nice adjustment. Good read by the quarterback. And a nice job by Lewis to sit down out there and recognize man coming off the slot.
Change now at halfback. Shaw goes to the sideline. Tatum Bell in along with Denard, the fullback. Bell in motion. Looking deep to Woods. Caught around the 15-yard line. And OSU is on the move. Edric Pruitt had the coverage.
Mark, at the top, we talk about big plays and how Woods has done it all year. Again, he's going to come right at you, going to give you a little outside move and sit in the hole, turns the safety around. Pruitt, who's one of the better ones at free safety in the league. First down. When you got that much cushion and that much space and you've scored 16 touchdowns this year, there'll be a lot of those happening today. Nice throw by Fields.
1st and 10. Throwback screen. Charlie Johnson down to the 5-yard line. 9 yards on the play. We've seen varied formations, a lot of different plays, almost a different look on every snap.
Yeah, and Oklahoma State's not going to allow Southern Miss to dictate the tempo because they give a lot of looks and a lot of shifts and stems on defense. So what Gundy, their offensive coordinator Mike Gundy's done is come out and say, we're going to beat you at your own game. Spread you out, come in, play tight, run screens. We're going to push the ball down the field. And when you've got a quarterback that's this hot, Mark, you think you're going to see a lot of this all day. And this guy right here, Josh Fields, there's a lot of pressure on him, but he keeps his team in the right play.
Big personnel. Shaw and Denard in the backfield. Shaw on the counter. Inside for a tough couple of yards before Rod Davis hauls him down.
You think you'll be saying his name a few times today, Mark?
157 total tackles, 116 of those solo tackles, which leads the nation. And as you mentioned in the open, 10.5 sacks.
Unbelievable. Normally that's reserved for a defensive end that stands up and rushes, or an outside linebacker that comes and gets the blitzes all the time. This is the guy who leads your team in tackles, so he's not blitzing every down and still gets 10.5 sacks. What a great opening drive by the Oklahoma State Cowboys.
Play action to the flat. The fullback, Denard, touchdown Cowboys. Just like that, they march down the field, a 3-yard touchdown pass to the fullback. Doesn't catch a lot of them in this offense, but he gets the Cowboys on the board first.
That's what I like about Fields, too, Mark, allowing everybody to get involved on this first drive. Spread it around really nice.
Luke Phillips makes it 7-0. Oklahoma State. And we're off and running here at the Houston Bowl. Les Miles. A happy man. After he watched his offense move down the field with long passes to Rashawn Woods, the All-American, and then a little 3-yard flat pass to the unlikely candidate, the fullback, Denard. We're back after this. Welcome back to Reliance Stadium, the Houston Bowl. Josh Fields engineers an Oklahoma State opening drive of 10 plays, 67 yards. And the Cowboys are on the board early here against Southern Miss. Fields 5 of 6 on that drive. And Cole Barton, number 18, will send it off. Eubanks deep in the end zone to take a knee. And the Golden Eagles will take over on the 20-yard line. At quarterback for Southern Miss, Mickey D'Angelo. He's playing with a rib injury that kept him out of most of practice leading up to today's game. He'll be handing off to James Wally, who is making just his second start at running back for the injured Derek Nix. Johnson, Handy, and Young have combined for over 1,700 yards receiving. Garner is the tight end. And they come out with an open set, 3 wide receivers. Johnson in motion. Takes the handoff. Sweep right. Up past the 25 to about the 28-yard line. 8 yards on the play. Up front for Southern Miss, it's Bridges, Parquette, Hicks, Jimenez, and Torrin Tucker, the all-conference guard who's already been invited to play the prestigious Senior Bowl. They'll face a Cowboy front features one of the best defensive tackles in the country, senior Kevin Williams, 6'5", 290 pounds, and he is disruptive. D'Angelo to Wally, bangs it up for about 4 yards and what looks to be a first down. At linebacker for the Cowboys, Terrence Robinson and Paul Duren, a redshirt freshman. They lead the team, or he leads the team in tackles. 5 defensive backs for Southern Miss: Williams, Milligan, Craig, Massey, and the true freshman Vernon Grant. If they've had problems on defense, it's been at the corner, but Williams is playing his best football of the season. 1st and 10. D'Angelo overshoots his intended wide receiver, Williams, with the interception down at the 31-yard line.
Just a simple case of, check out the mechanics here, Mark. Ball comes off high. Looks like he held it a little bit too long. Sitting in a pocket, throws, tries to throw over the defensive lineman. Just a bad throw, got away from it. Those things are going to happen. The key for now, Mickey D'Angelo, is how you respond when you come back. You put your team in a bit of a bind now. They're at the 31-yard line. An explosive team, and there's Darren Williams, sophomore cornerback, on the pick. You do not want to give a team like this the short field, but now D'Angelo's got to respond when they get the ball back, Mark.
Williams' 3rd interception of the season. Seymour Shaw now at tailback. Fields, play action, bootleg, and throws this one out of bounds. A wise decision from the sophomore.
And Mark, if you're sitting at home or people in the stands saying, oh, why are you going to throw it out of bounds? That is a great decision. That's why 29 touchdowns and 9 interceptions this year, is because he understands when to throw it away, when to hit the fullback in the flat like he did last time for the touchdown. Great decision by him. Tee it up again. We're in field goal range right now. Let's go 2nd and 10.
A true sophomore. He ranks 36 in all of college football with an efficiency rating of over 141.
And he's only a sophomore.
Heady stuff for a young guy.
You bet.
2nd and 10. Shaw up the middle to the 25. Rod Davis on the stop after a 6-yard pickup. Well, there's Mike Gundy, the offensive coordinator, who, by the way, holds all the career records for OSU. We mentioned Josh Fields. He holds the single-season records, and he's after that man's name in the record book right there.
He had a pretty good running back to hand to, too, and
yes.
Barry Sanders when he was here. But Mike Gundy, the interesting thing, Mark, you love those quarterbacks that are coordinators now, because when in doubt, let's throw this thing down the field. And I know Mike's an attack guy. It's his 2nd season as the coordinator, as you saw, and like what he's doing with this offense.
Well, timeout's been called now by Oklahoma State. They're going to talk about it on a 3rd and 4 situation, leading by a touchdown early on over Southern Miss. After a quick Cowboys score on the opening drive, their defense comes up with an interception, and now Oklahoma State University faces a 3rd and 4 from the 25-yard line. Shaw inside, picks up maybe 3. He'll be short of the first down. Davis and Pruitt on the stop.
Shaw's getting a little more love. Tatum Bell get a little more early in the game, Mark.
Tatum Bell almost 1,000 yards. Yeah, we're a little surprised to see so much of Shaw in this game, but 2 good backs. And Les Miles has decided he's going to kick the field goal. Luke Phillips comes on for that duty. It's a 40-yard attempt. He is 63% this year. 3 of 6 from this distance. We have a flag. Delay of game. And now if Les elects to do this, it's going to be a little bit longer period.
Yeah, you know, Mark, these are some of the things that can be unacceptable. You know, special teams, you got to be ready to get on the field, be ready to go. You can't lollygag around. 5 yards further, is it makeable? You bet it is, but still, it's 5 yards more distance. You got to do everything you can to be, you know, have your tie tied up and your shoes ready to go, and get yourself out there on the field ready to play. And it's inexcusable for the special teams for Oklahoma State.
45 yards. Again, 3 of 6 from this distance. It's long enough. And it's good.
Penalize them every time, huh, Mark?
Despite the mistake, Les Miles and his Oklahoma State Cowboys can't do any wrong here. They jump out to an early 10-0 lead on a 45-yard field goal. Back to the Houston Bowl after this.
Houston's largest and finest independent jeweler. And by Rocky Mountain Cold, Coors Light. Cold, down, easy.
Welcome back to Reliance Stadium, where it's been all Oklahoma State early on. 7:50 remaining in the first quarter. OSU has added a field goal of 45 yards. Luke Phillips to make it 10-0. Farden, the kicker for the Cowboys, sends it deep. Eubanks at the goal line. Fakes the reverse and is hammered at the 10-yard line. Capital One Bowl Week continues on ESPN with 4 games. Up next, Eli Manning makes his final appearance for Ole Miss as Nebraska and the Rebels clash in the mainstay Independence Bowl. Then at 8 Eastern, L. Roberson leads the number 6 ranked Kansas State Wildcats against the Arizona State Sun Devils in the 25th annual Pacific Life Holiday Bowl from Qualcomm Stadium in San Diego, California. For more on the season's entire college football bowl action, you can log on to ESPN.com. And Mickey D'Angelo is now out. He has been replaced by Dustin Allman, number 9. Immediately gets pressure. He's a runner. Puts his head down and gets out near the 20-yard line before Darrent Williams drags him down. A gain of 7. We mentioned at the top, D'Angelo injured his ribs earlier in the week in practice. They weren't sure he'd be able to go. He gets 1 series, and now we're going to see Allman.
Yeah, he might, maybe judging from the way he threw the football, Mark. You know, Coach Bauer on the sidelines, you know, speculating that maybe he's not throwing it with the authority because he did practice. We talked about timing. You got to give yourself the best chance to win, and Allman may be it today.
Allman only completing just over 46% of his passes this season. Johnson goes in motion. Wally for the first down, out to the 24-yard line, gain of 5 yards on the play.
Wally got that 1 start this year in place of Nix because of the injury and rushed for over 100 yards. I think now, Mark, you go from a sophomore quarterback who's out now, then you get to your backup quarterback who's a freshman, redshirt freshman, and Dustin Allman. Wally's going to have to carry the football a lot. There you see 27 rushes for 100 yards, only 2.7 a carry, but still got to the 100-yard mark, and they need to control the football like that today to keep OSU off the field.
1st and 10 from the 24. Bunch formation. Works the single receiver side, and Allman overthrows him, and we have a flag on the play. Vernon Grant, the true freshman corner, looks to be the guilty party.
And that's a good call, Mark. He's down there grabbing and clutching and way down the field, right by the first down stripe. Here's a call.
Illegal motion on the offense, pass interference on the defense. The penalties are set. We'll replay first down.
Yeah, we only saw the 1 flag, and that was a pass interference, so offset penalties. But it was a good call out there at the wideout position.
Jeff Bauer and his Southern Miss Golden Eagles can't catch a break early on here.
And Mark, if you're Oklahoma State, you got a redshirt freshman in the game who hasn't played much, and you're up by 10. What do you think you do? You pressure him and come after him. And I fully expect Oklahoma State to give him a lot of different looks to see if he can confuse the young freshman quarterback.
Broden, the tight end in motion. Wally inside. Pushes the pile and finally brought down at about the 33-yard line by Kirk Milligan, the strong safety. 5 yards on the play.
And Mark, if you're Oklahoma State's defense, recognizing how hot your offense is with this freshman quarterback in now for Southern Miss, you say, well, you know what, we could take a few chances and get after them because even if they do score and hit a big play, our offense is capable of answering right back in a couple plays themselves.
With D'Angelo in there during the season, they've spread the passing game around. 3 wide receivers over 500 yards in receiving. They really don't have a go-to guy, but they do have some speed out there. 3 wides on 2nd and 6. Allman down at the 20. And a flag for a possible late hit. Kevin Williams, the first to get there for Oklahoma State.
Gave a little look, a little pressure.
We got a dead ball Personal foul on the defense. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
Take him any way you can get him. Allman dropping back. He's going to hold the ball a little long, but great pressure up front. And here's what he's talking about, the late spear. That's a very good call. There's no harm done as far as injury-wise, but anytime you hit somebody late and spear him when he's down, it's a good call and another penalty on Oklahoma State.
The infraction on Greg Richmond, number 45. So a minus 11 turns into a first down for the Golden Eagles.
It's okay to take a few chances on defense, Mark, but not get careless like that.
Shotgun formation, 4 wide receivers. Quick pass, stares it down, but drives it in to Leroy Handy. Gain of about 4 yards.
Well, early indications, Dustin Allman's going to take. He's going to drop back and sling that thing, Mark. What's he got to lose? He's in here as a freshman, got some snaps during the week, and looks like he's coming at it with pretty aggressive attitude. I like that.
Early on, I think the thing we have to watch is he seems very deliberate. He seems like he wants to stare down his receiver from the time he takes the ball, and that could prove to be deadly. Allman again, the quick pass outside, this time to Chris Johnson. Gets up near the 45-yard line. Williams drags him down.
And I don't think offensive coordinators do this enough, Mark. The play before, we saw the hitch to the left. If they're going to play off, come out here, run a little 6-yard hitch, stop route, get it out to him quickly. It's an easy throw for the quarterback, a very defined decision he can make. Throw it out there, give yourself 5 or 6 yards. It's a nice extension of the run. The offensive coordinator, get to it as often as you can.
Jumbo people, Wally doesn't have the ball. It's a play fake. And oh my goodness, Allman overthrows his intended receiver, the tight end, Bobby Garner, but there is a flag on the play. What a great ball fake.
Got a personal foul. Roughing the passer on the defense. 15 yards. Automatic first down.
Well, that's 2 roughings now, so Allman is, I'll tell you what, taking a beating, but what a ball fake.
Prestidigitation. That's called sleight of hand. Look at this. Ho-hum. Yep, I think I'll make a play. Has a guy by 8 yards. Another late hit. Careless by Oklahoma State. And you got those big plays out there. If you're Southern Miss, Allman can't miss those, but was a great fake. But Oklahoma State looks like they're on the overly aggressive side right now, Mark, getting after this young quarterback.
Antonio Smith, the guilty party. First and 10 from the 40. 3 wides. And the handoff to Johnson, who's driven out of bounds at about the 33-yard line after an 8-yard pickup. Williams on the stop.
If you like offense and spreading it out and doing a bunch of different things, you're going to like this one today, because Southern Miss and Oklahoma State are both going to show you things that you may not have seen this football season, and go after it, challenge and attack. It's going to be a fun game to watch.
Jeff Bauer had planned on coming into this game using both quarterbacks, D'Angelo and Allman, in different series. He's been forced to go to Allman, and so far he's put together a nice little drive. 2nd and 2. Broken play, flag down, and Allman to the 25. It looks like we might have an offside here by the Cowboys.
Little broken play hesitation. You're going to see Allman get out of the pocket. Going to get out of bounds. Nice little push. That was not a late hit. He was in bounds.
On the defense. Penalty is declined. First down.
And that's... You don't want to get too close to that wood. That's about to hurt somebody there.
Llewellyn Brown, number 89, the nose guard, a little anxious to give Southern Miss another first down out of the 25-yard line.
Well, if you needed a wake-up call, Oklahoma State's defense has given it to them.
8 plays, 65 yards. Option. Takes the pitch, Allman inside. Miles pushed down near the 20-yard line before Terrence Robinson hauls him down after a 4-yard pickup.
Allman may need a little bit of a whirlpool when this thing's over. 2 personal foul calls, a shot out of bounds, an option play where he gets drilled after 4 yards. But, you know, Mark, it's in situations like this when you're down and a young kid like this comes in a football game, you sure learn real quick if the kid's tough or what kind of moxie he's got. And Allman's showing quite a bit on this first drive, not losing his composure like Oklahoma State's defense did.
And he brings his second dimension to the offense, which makes it more difficult for the Cowboys to zero in. Garner, the tight end in motion. Allman rifles one out, but it's incomplete to Johnson. Williams there to break it up.
Yeah, that was a nice throw. Now, I don't know if Williams got a hand on it, but he threw it away and low, so his guy had a chance to catch it, throwing it on the move. Decisive with his decision-making. I like that. Allman's getting after it. This is a good drive going 3rd and 6 now. If you're Southern Miss, I would expect a little bit of pressure up front down here as you push the red zone with this freshman quarterback.
Shotgun formation.
Keep an eye right here, see if pressure's going to come.
Plenty of time for Allman. Flushed and throws incomplete. Massey, the safety for the Cowboys, makes the play.
Trying to make something happen. Almost threw another interception there, did Southern Miss, but get to tee it up for a field goal and see if we get some points here if you're Southern Miss and get you right back in the game.
Kurt Jones from 38 yards. And it's good. So after falling behind quickly 10-0, the Southern Miss Golden Eagles answer back with a field goal of their own, and we've got a 1-touchdown ball game from the Houston Bowl in Houston, Texas.
What do you get when you mix a chef, a plumber, and a policeman with an abandoned restaurant? A recipe for success. With the help of their local community coalition, these three brought in carpenters and electricians. They donated time and materials and helped turn that old restaurant into a family center. Now they're all building a better community, volunteering to help keep kids away from drugs. And that's the tastiest dish of all. Visit helpyourcommunity.org to see what your group can do. Because you get more.
When you get together.
There's no reason why that ball should have gone through Buckner's legs. There's no reason why any of the runs before that should have been scored. There's no reason why the Mets should have even been in the World Series. No reason why they should have won 108 games. They were outmanned by the Red Sox. The Red Sox had the most dominating players in baseball. The numbers had almost become sublime. There are numbers that are actually bigger than baseball. Laws of probability that supersede the rules of statistics. Things that are even bigger than the curse of the Bambino. Things that say that if you call heads 100 times in 100 seasons, that one of those times it's going to have to land heads.
The gospel, according to ESPN, a great holiday gift.
We're back here at the Houston Bowl. Oklahoma State up 10-3 on Southern Miss. Welcome back. Well, a report from the sidelines. It looks as though Mickey D'Angelo, the quarterback for Southern Miss, is out for the game. As you mentioned, he pulled cartilage earlier on Saturday during practice, and it seems to be flaring up. Dustin Allman will be their quarterback the rest of the game. Back to you, Mark.
All right, Tracy, thank you very much. Again, Allman, not many snaps this year, and his backup, Zach White, redshirt sophomore, hasn't taken a snap in the 2002 season.
And the way they're getting after Allman, they want to protect him a little bit better here.
Madlock sends it deep to Massey. 5 yards deep into the end zone. He'll take a knee. Force Oklahoma State now to have to drive 80 yards for another touchdown. Well, Saturday, Capital One Bowl Week continues with games on ESPN and ESPN2 at 11 a.m. Eastern on ESPN2. The Virginia Cavaliers meet the West Virginia Mountaineers in the inaugural Continental Tire Bowl at Erickson Stadium in Charlotte, North Carolina. Then at 8 Eastern on ESPN, it's the Alamo Bowl, presented by MasterCard. The Colorado Buffaloes meet the Wisconsin Badgers at the Alamo Dome in San Antonio, Texas. More on the season's entire college football bowl action. Of course, you can log on to ESPN.com. First and 10 from the 20, Tatum Bell. The pitch is hammered at the line of scrimmage. Maybe a yard loss. Rod Davis on the stop. Talking about the Continental Tire Bowl. I'll tell you what, pretty good little matchup there. When you've got West Virginia and Virginia. And Cavaliers lost 4 bowl games, allowing 41 points a game. That can't happen. And West Virginia might be one of the most improved programs in the country.
You're not kidding, Mark. And Avon Coburn, their running back, the second-team All-American, rushed for over 1,500 yards. Didn't get a ton of Heisman love, but he'll be showing people at Virginia what he's all about.
Gennard, short motion. Play action, down the middle. To Charlie Johnson. The 45-yard line for Brooks and Pruitt. All hit there. 25 yards on the game.
Mark, when you want to split the safeties who play too deep, you're going to see tight end get right down the middle of the field, split them, nice timing, good pitch and catch. That's one of the great plays in football. If you get split safeties, get right down the middle. The key for the tight end is to get off the ball. That's exactly what Johnson did. Get to that next level. Good throw by Fields.
Mike Gundy, the offensive coordinator, said they use a lot of 2 tight end. In fact, probably throw more out of 2 tight end than anybody in the country. Fields, play action again, looking deep. This one for Woods. Woods, a great job to break it up. It was a flag on the play. Grade Brooks, along with Rashawn Woods, kind of in a hand-to-hand battle for that one.
You might get a little push in the back from the offensive receiver, Rashawn Woods.
On the offense, 15 yards, previous ball, complete first down.
I'm going to get you one of those striped uniforms here, my partner.
Just good eyes. Now, here you see Mark, a little deep route, not a whole lot of move, a little stutter and go. Watch the right hand and the left hand come in and push. That's a good call by the official. I know the fans don't like it. They see a orange here at the ballpark, but that's a good call. Usually the superstars get the call, but that's a nice push-off. Doesn't get usually called on the offensive side, but Woods did that, and it was good, and they're going to bring it back.
You and I have played both major college football and professional football for a decade. Most coaches will tell you, force the officials to make the offensive interference call, because rarely will they do it.
That's a lot of times you'll push and they'll get the defensive call.
They come right back out. A quick toss to T.D. Bryant down the left sideline out to about the 43-yard line for Pruitt and Johnson bring it down.
What's interesting, Mark, is this offense averaging 34-plus points a game. Oklahoma State, what's amazing is that you push them all the way back, and I'm not so sure it's out of their range to go back and get the first down on a couple plays. They attack. There's nothing too much for them to overcome.
This year, averaging just over 34 points. That's 16th in the NCAA. That's 5th all-time for the school. 258 passing yards per game, first all-time for the Oklahoma State University program. Fields. Looking to who else? Oh! This time, John Lewis was wide open on the comeback and drops it right in his hands.
Yeah, Mark, when you're going to get Woods on one side and you're going to come to Lewis on the other, you're going to get a lot of single coverage if you're Lewis. Plenty of space. We talked earlier about how Woods catches the ball with his hands. Well, John Lewis tried to body that. It got into him. It gobbled him up, let him get into his shoulder pads and drop the ball on the ground. You're going to get a bunch of single coverage. He has a chance to make a lot of plays today, and they'll come to him. It's a nice decision by the quarterback, but you must catch that football with those fingertips and hands.
Brings up a 3rd and 12. 3 wide receivers. Cowboys 2 of 4 on 3rd down today. Blitz coming, and Fields is hammered. Ronald Jones, the defensive end, drops him for a 9-yard loss.
That's Southern Miss's MO. Give you a bunch of different looks, and then come get you. It's 3rd and long. Ronald Jones going to get after the quarterback. Push right there on the top of your screen on the left side. Nice job. good move to get to him. 3rd and 12. You can expect a lot of that from Southern Miss.
Marvin Young, ranked 4th in Conference USA, is driven back to the 20 and is dropped immediately. Dropped immediately. Great special teams by OSU. 46 yards on the punt. Nothing on the return, as Willie Young was the first to get down there. Well, we'd like to salute the soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines assigned to the U.S. Pacific Command watching this telecast on AFN, the American Forces Network. We'd also like to send a special hello to their daughters. They're part of West Pacific Girl Scouts that bases in Japan, Okinawa, and South Korea. Happy holidays from all of us here at ESPN.
And enjoy a good football game, too.
Dustin Allman in the quarterback for Southern Miss. 1st and 10 from the 20. Wally banks it out for a 5-yard gain for Duren. The freshman hauls him down.
Now that's a win for a Southern Miss on offense. If you can give to that fellow James Wally and allow him to get 5-6 yards on 1st down, now the flow of the game and the tempo of the game on offense allows the young freshman Allman to make some other decisions where you're not pushed into a passing situation only.
Jeff Bauer's group, gutty to hang in there as the first quarter comes to an end. From the Houston Bowl in Houston, Texas, the Oklahoma State Cowboys lead by a touchdown over Southern Miss. Oklahoma State has had a lot to cheer about so far early in this football game. With 1 quarter gone, they're up 10-3 over Southern Miss. That's right. They beat Nebraska. They beat Oklahoma. First time that ever happened in the history of this program. And they are playing some very good football towards the end of the season, Sean.
Boy, not only beat Oklahoma, they hammered them, Mark. Put it on them.
Southern Miss on 2nd and 5. A flag is thrown.
Dead ball. False start. On the offense. 5 yards. 2nd down.
Now that's the part that kills you. You go 1st down and get 5. You come back and get and jump off sides, false start. Now you're back to 2nd and 10. That young man there, Dustin Allman, now you put him in a bag bind again. You cannot do that.
So far, Southern Miss just 9 yards passing. Dustin Allman had to take over from Mickey D'Angelo, who has the rib injury. And this doesn't help. Brings up a 2nd and 9. Little flare pass to Wally. Great block. Springs him loose down the right sideline. Cut back. Finally dropped by Albert Gray after a 44-yard gain. That's the way to make a young quarterback look good, Sean.
Wants a kick out. Nice job. Jeremy Bridges. Nice effort getting on a corner, springing him. All you got to do is get the big body in front of him. Lets Wally get out on the perimeter. Big plays. If you can put your team in a position to do that, now you're on the other side of the field. The effort by Bridges up front sprung Wally. Nice job.
A redshirt freshman from Macomb, Mississippi. Bridges. Zalman looks deep off the pump fake. He's got a man wide open. Johnson bobbles the ball. They say incomplete. The 2nd time today that Allman has had a wide receiver open deep and has overthrown the ball.
I got to get Allman to slow that pulse down a little bit. He's had 2 wide open receivers. Now this ball could have been caught, but it would have been a good effort. Make it easy on your receiver. Throw it up there. You had him beat by 10 yards. Ooh, that's twice. Allman wishes he had 2 of them because, Mark, they had 2 touchdowns staring right at Oklahoma State on big plays. That was a great double move on the outside by Chris Johnson.
Head coach Jeff Bauer doesn't have that many plays in the bag to pull out. You only get so many chances in a game. Brings up 2nd and 10. Quick pass inside. Ball tipped at the line of scrimmage. His intended wide receiver, Leroy Handy. And now we go from a potential touchdown to 3rd and 10.
And you mentioned there's not a lot of plays in your playbook, Mark, when you miss those big plays. And they're sure as heck getting a lot on 3rd and 10. When you have those, man, I'm sitting up here, I'm sweating because I wanted him to hit that play. Adam Bolt, I'm sure he'll be presented another opportunity, but Oklahoma State's too good on offense to allow those to go by when you got a chance to make them.
Allman checks at the line of scrimmage. And the play clock runs out. Now the young quarterback faces 3rd and 15.
Woo. And there's nothing that chaps a coach more.
See Jeff Bauer there say, you don't have to check, does it?
Right.
You don't have to check. You stay in that play.
What happens, Mark, a lot of times young quarterbacks come in and you start to hyperventilate a little bit, and I'm not saying that Ahman's doing it, but you start to see things that aren't there. You feel like, I got to get to this, I got to get to that, and I'm sure Coach Bauer trying to call some plays to allow Ahman to run it, leave it on so you don't have to mess with calling audibles all the time.
Southern missed 2 penalties today for 10 yards. They were both delay of game penalties. Under pressure, throws it out to Young. Tries to make one tackler miss. It's driven out of bounds by Vernon Grant at the 33-yard line. Nine yards on the pickup, but it's going to be short.
Right. That penalty kills them. It'd be a lot better position if they're not penalized with the delay of game. Plus, they could hit the big play. They're going to go for it here on 4th and 7, Mark, or 4th and 6, should I say. See if they're a little bit out of field goal range. Don't want to punt it. Why not? Like the call by Coach Bauer.
They're the underdogs in this game. You've got to be aggressive. Allman buys time. Finally, called down by Greg Richmond. And Southern Miss will turn it over on downs. Oklahoma State will take over 1st and 10 from the 35-yard line.
And if you're a young quarterback and you guys at home, when it's 4th and 6, you know that the defense is saying, well, we got to pressure them. You've got to have a built-in time clock to say, you know, this ball's got to come out a little quicker. Yes, can they protect better? But Dustin's got to understand that things speed up a little bit. The tempo picks up when it's 4th and 6, knowing Oklahoma State's going to come after you. Just got to be able to get that ball out of your hand a little bit quicker, because you put yourself in a bind. Ball turned over on downs, and Oklahoma State has it at the 35.
Tatum Bell, the lone setback. Fields, ball batted up in the air. Davis almost gets to it, but it falls incomplete, bringing up a 2nd and 10. Rayshawn Jones, the man responsible for beating it up in the air.
I'm surprised Rod Davis didn't tackle the football. He's only done it 116 times soloed players this year. There you see, if you can't get to the quarterback, get your hands up and make a play, knock it down. A nice job by Rayshawn Jones to do that thing. Too many guys get in, keep their head down. Hey, if you're not going to get there, stick it up. Make a quarterback who's just barely 6 feet tall throw it over you around you. Nice job by Jones.
OSU comes back with a 2 tight end formation. Fields 8 of 12 for 101 yards, 1 touchdown today. Play action under pressure. And the play is blown dead. Got a penalty flag down around the 47-yard line. And we've got another delay of game. Oklahoma State killing themselves with penalties.
Dead ball. Sure are. Delay on the offense. 5 yards. Still 7 yards.
Mark, we shouldn't see more than 1 delay a game in a game combination, both teams. We've seen 3 on the offense now between these 2 teams. And it's interesting when you're watching a game like this that the yellow flags, why they start coming out this early, Mark. Long time off between a bowl game. So they come out, it's almost like preseason again, where you're getting there in training camp and you're trying to get things right. You're a little unorganized.
Fields does a lot of audibling at the line of scrimmage, but 5 penalties for 55 yards so far. That's just too much. 2nd and 15. Fields, the bubble screen inside to T.D. Bryant. He picks up about 7 or 8 more. Excuse me, that was Gabe Lindsey. Before Rod Davis brings him down.
Mark, this play has become so big in college football. Going to come down there, you see, boom, little jab step, come inside, have guys peel back and block. Get 7, 8 yards. We've seen a bunch of times in college football over the last couple of years. There you see Mike Gundy bringing out all the stops. They've screamed. They've done it all. Got 10 points on the board. They will continue to do it, but that bubble screen has been so huge for big plays across college football the last handful of years.
Fields under pressure. Ball's loose. Southern Miss on the recovery. Ronald Jones was the man who knocked the ball out. And who do you think came up with it?
Well, I'll bet you it's number 24, Rod Davis. Have a look now. Jones is going to get to the quarterback. Fields holding on to it. Comes from his blind side. Going to hit him right in the back. Ball's going to come loose. Definitely a fumble. And Rod Davis, who leads the nation in solo tackles the football. Look at those eyes by Rod Davis. Always aware. He is so active. Ball comes loose. First guy to get it. That big-time middle linebacker, Rod Davis.
That's his third fumble recovery on the season, along with 10.5 sacks and all the tackles and the interceptions.
Always around the ball, Mark.
Allman hands it off inside to Wally. Picks up about 6 on the play, maybe 7, before Albert Craig drags him down.
And Mark, what's interesting, getting back to Rod Davis, you see him there on the sideline, is a lot of people say, well, he's just a physical specimen and a great athlete, but you can't be around the ball that much if you don't understand offenses and understand formations, and you're not aware. He is aware. That's why he tackles. That's why he can sack the quarterback, and that's why when the ball's on the ground, that young man right there is the first one to get to it.
All Conference USA has filed a petition with the NFL Advisory Board to see whether or not he should make himself eligible for the NFL draft next year. Allman, under pressure, throw back across the field, the corner to tight end. Wow! And a flag to boot, down to about the 17-yard line.
Oh, the no-care attitude of a freshman quarterback. You got to love that. Now, I'll tell you what not to do at home after we get this flag. That was pretty good.
Yeah, if you play high school football.
5 yards, face mask on the defense.
Penalty number 6 on Oklahoma State, Mark.
If you play high school football or Pop Warner football and you play quarterback, don't make that kind of throw.
Yeah, this will not be on your highlight film. Have a look at this, Mark. Comes down. I understand the throwback screen, but I don't think they want you to go all the way to the sideline to do it. Running. Let me throw it back. A little hesitation. Ball's in the air for a long time. That's pretty amazing. You got away with it, but don't try that at home.
Wally, a couple tough yards up inside for Robinson. Hauls him down at about the 7.
And, Mark, when you're inside the red zone area, inside that 15, 10-yard line, you can get 5 yards. You and I both know that's like double the pleasure. Because the end zone, you're using that as another defensive player. Those are hard yards to come by.
They are indeed. 2nd and 5. Wally, 6 carries for 32 yards on the day so far. And got a penalty.
Dead ball. Full start on the offense. 5 yards. Still 2nd down.
Some early sloppy play and some mistimed stuff on both sides of the ball.
If you're just joining us here in Houston, Texas, at Reliance Stadium, the Houston Bowl. Southern Miss and Oklahoma State, the Cowboys up early. 10-3. Mark Malone, Sean Salisbury, Tracy Wilson. Glad you could be with us. Allman. Again, this is what he does best. Runs the football. Touchdown, Southern Miss. For the redshirt freshman quarterback. He's got his Golden Eagles back in this football game.
And, Mark, now that was a great decision by the young fella. They wanted to run the bubble screen to the left. Well, if the bubble screen's covered, what is the next thing you do? Throw it away, take off and run? That's a broken play that he runs in for a touchdown. Outstanding job by Allman not to throw it into trouble on that short little bubble screen to the wide receiver. It's nice to have athleticism to make those kind of plays, huh?
Indeed it is. Kurt Jones now for the extra points. Southern Miss 96 straight extra points. Make it 97. And the Southern Miss Golden Eagles find their way back on the true redshirt freshman, Dustin Allman. We're tied at 10. Back after this. Tie ball game. 10:32 left in the second quarter as the redshirt freshman Dustin Allman has found a way to get Southern Miss back in this football game. Matlock with a kickoff. Massey at the 1. Got a little daylight. finally hauled down at the 25-yard line by Joe Henley, return of 25 yards. If you missed the early action in this football game, Sean Woods, the All-American wide receiver, been big in the first quarter, ended up with 3 receptions for 39 yards. But Dustin Allman, the redshirt freshman, 5 of 10, 68 yards, and of course he's a scrambler. 13-yard touchdown, and we've got ourselves a tie football game. Seymour Shaw, deep setback. Off right tackle for maybe 2. Rod Davis is on the stop.
This guy's unbelievable, Mark. You watch him in his anticipation. We see Ray Lewis do it at the next level. Guys just understand formations, and when a guy makes the move, Rod Davis beats him to the punch. And we've seen mostly in this first quarter and a half, Mark, very few people have got to his legs, and he will make a ton of tackles.
He lost control of his car and hurt his back around the holiday time and missed a little bit of practice time. But he,
I hate to see him if he's fully healthy.
He doesn't seem to be bothered by that back now. In fact, he's just involved in a bunch of car crashes out there on the football field. 2nd and 8. Ill-advised throw over the middle to Bajema. Falls incomplete.
Interesting thing there, Marcus Fields, when he's in rhythm, is great. When he drops back, he double clutches. And when you double clutch, don't get your feet and body set. Ball comes out high, and that's what happens.
You don't ever want to double clutch and then throw the ball late over the middle. You have to double clutch. You don't like what you see, drop it down.
That's right.
Drop it down and move to the next play.
That's exactly right. Over the middle, get somebody hurt, get yourself intercepted.
Oklahoma State just 2 of 6 on 3rd down today. Under pressure, Boyd. He gets it outside to Woods down the right sideline. Makes one man miss. And is hauled down at the 33-yard line. 39 yards on the reception.
Mark, we said if you're going to blitz and you don't get to the quarterback and you're going to go single coverage on the outside, you've got problems. Nice job running along with him. Good route. Sell the inside cut, tries to get some help from the safety. Woods sells it, pushes off a little bit like a good receiver does, and gets a bunch of yards after the catch. That is how you make big plays, and that's why this guy has got 16 touchdown catches on the year, which leads the United States.
Nearly 20 yards of reception today. The screen pass. Denard did not see it. Will bring up a 2nd and 10. They hook up with that one. Denard still running.
He walks in. That's exactly right. Keep running down that tunnel and get yourself a glass of water, because that would have been a touchdown. And Mark, I'm going to go back to this again, is that when you've been off this long and had this layoff from the time the regular season ended to now, that those screens, which are supposed to be easy, they become mistimed because you're almost going back to where you were in summer camp.
Let's give some credit to that Southern Miss defense. It's aggressive, a lot of varied looks. They come after you. There's a little Statue of Liberty screen out to the right side to Tatum Bell. Jones on the play for no gain. Capital One Bowl Week continues on ESPN with 2 more games. Up next, Nebraska, the Ole Miss Rebels clash in the Mainstay Independence Bowl. Then at 8 Eastern, Al Roberson leads the number 6 ranked Kansas State Wildcats against the Arizona State Sun Devils in the 25th annual Pacific Life Holiday Bowl from Qualcomm Stadium in San Diego, California. The Avocado League, Sean.
Oh, yeah, I know all about the Avocado League.
We're both from San Diego.
I wonder if Eli Manning's going to stay in school or this is his last game at Ole Miss, Mark.
Well, I think his brother will and his father will help him with that decision. Fields throw this one up for Woods, but out of bounds. You mentioned Eli Manning, and when you put up numbers like this, you can think about whether or not you want to go to the next level early.
You bet. And you know what's interesting, Mark, with the great genes that he has coming from Archie, and Peyton is his brother and Archie is his father. This kid is very composed and he'll make the right decision. But Archie, like he did with Peyton, will allow him to make the decision whether to come out or stay in school. And we know Peyton went all 4 years and stayed in school. Eli's got big time potential on that.
This is a 52-yard attempt by Phillips. Plenty of legs. Wow. That equals his career best. Twice against Oklahoma, he hit 52-yarders.
That's good.
Another
from 60.
one here. makes it 13-10 Oklahoma State over Southern Miss. Stay with us. Southern Miss running back Derek Nix, just 12 yards short of being the all-time career rushing leader at Southern Miss. Has a very serious kidney ailment, is not playing today. His team, in fact, dedicating this game to him. Over 3,000 yards in his career, over 1,000 yards in each of the 3 seasons he's played, Sean.
Yeah, got Baby Bull on their helmets. The coach has got him on the back of their hats. His nickname is a freshman. There you see it. Mark, you know what's interesting, too, is that kind of keep perspective. A good football player now has to battle the real things in life, huh? That's the way the importance of a football game. That's
Wish him all the well. Eubanks, 2 yards deep in the end zone. Runs into the wall at about the 17-yard line. Hinson drops him. Well, of course, without Nix, without their quarterback, Mickey D'Angelo, Dustin Allman has come in and done a really nice job for them so far, Sean.
He sure has, and you got to get a little bit more help from his receivers. I like the fact the kid's standing in there. He's getting hit in the mouth, and when it's not open, Mark, as you know, they like to move him out, let him use his athleticism, making plays, keeping the play alive when nothing's there.
5 of 10 in the passing department for 68 yards, 2 runs, including that 13-yard touchdown run.
And a redshirt freshman, so he hasn't got a lot of practice time throughout his career here.
Anthony Harris now in a tailback, and he's hit behind the line of scrimmage. No gain. Kevin Williams, the big defensive tackle who, Les Miles said this kid could be something real special at the next level.
Yeah, and he plays like it, Mark, and he's, you know, didn't get a lot of national publicity, but man alive, does he get back there, and you mentioned disruptive when you described him at the top. That's exactly what he is, and he's constant when the motor's running all the time. There he is, Kevin Williams, senior. And there's some pro scouts that are here today having a good look-see at this kid.
First team all Big 12. Ball's on the ground. Dustin Allman had problem with his snap. Both teams are claiming possession, but we're going to get 3rd down.
We talked about that delay of game penalties irritate coaches. The thing that irritates them just as much, if not more, Mark, is that quarterback center exchange, which somehow, some way, you got to find a way to control that, especially in weather like this, which is good. You can't leave that ball on the ground.
It's always the center's fault, right?
Of course it is. I confess he did it.
The Golden Eagles 0 for 2 on 3rd down today. They hand it off to Anthony Harris. He gets it out to about the 23-yard line. He'll be well short of a 1st down, and we've got a player down on the field.
They got a holding penalty too, Mark, and on Southern Miss, I believe that they'd probably decline it if I was them and make Southern Miss punt it.
That looks like Kurt Milligan, safety, is considerably behind the play.
A lot of times in that area, you wonder if somebody cut him on the backside, Mark.
Block in the back on the offense. Penalty is declined. 4th down.
Courtney Mozzie, our referee today. Heard far too much from him early on.
Yes, we have.
Too many penalties. Milligan is up. Looks like he's pointing to his ankle.
Another block in the back. Declined again, and they'll force the front. Got back to that, Mark, when it was 3rd and 13 going into the last play. Hand the ball. If you don't have much to do, to go to, if you're an offense when you're in that situation.
Now it's going to bring out Mark Hallman. Number 2 all-time at Southern Miss, averaging 41.6 yards per punt. T.D. Bryant, deep to receive. High kick, waves it off, and it's going to take a Southern Miss bounce. T.D. picks it up, breaks the tackle, and is hauled down at the 35-yard line. Dangerous play, 43 yards on the punt, just 1 yard on the return. We're going to take a short break. We're all tied up, or excuse me, 13-10, Oklahoma State.
ESPN Sports' exclusive presentation of the 2002 Houston Bowl. Brought to you by Administaff, a professional personnel management services company. Find them at www.administaff.com. And by the new Honda Element. Go with it.
Welcome back to Houston, Texas, the Houston Bowl, where with 6:22 remaining in the first half, Oklahoma State leads by a field goal. 1st and 10, Fields, quick toss, outside, T.D. Bryant picks up maybe 2 yards before Pruitt makes the tackle.
Pretty fast defense, Mark. They can cover those little swing passes pretty well, sideline to sideline. Nice job by Southern Miss.
The Cowboys using the passing game as their running game. They're minus 5 yards rushing OSU so far this football game.
And they lead 13-10.
Yeah, they do. Second and 8. Bell on the counter. Picks his way up to about the 37-yard line. Let's check in with Tracy. Tracy.
Thanks, guys. Well, Oklahoma State junior Rashawn Woods is deciding whether he's going to leave early for the NFL draft. He has several decisions and several options. Obviously, he can leave, go to the pros, and reap the financial benefits that go along with it. Or he can stay at OSU, help the Cowboys move up in the ranks in the Big 12, break several more records, have a shot at the Heisman, and most importantly for him, play with his 2 brothers. DeJuan is a redshirt freshman who has seen sometime this year at wide receiver, and his other brother, Jonathan, is a recruit coming in at quarterback. Woods says he'd like to make a decision soon. His deadline is January 15th. Back to you guys.
All right, thank you, Tracy. Fields, attempted pass for Lewis, falls short.
And Tracy makes a good point about him entering the draft, Mark. I talked to a general manager before the game today who said that he'd like to see the kid stay right now. I mean, probably a second-round draft pick, but needs to strengthen, get a little bit stronger. But that's one man's opinion.
On the offense, penalty is declined. 4th down.
They would probably recommend, you know, go back to school. And a lot of these guys, the good ones, want to see these kids staying as long as they can to get more mature. He's definitely got the ability, though, Mark. We've seen that. And I don't think one more year would hurt him, to be honest with you.
We toss around the fact that there are a lot of guys who are potential Heisman candidates. This kid is a real Heisman candidate next year. And his brother, Devon, probably the most highly recruited quarterback out of the state of Oklahoma. One of the better quarterbacks out of high school in the United States.
You always say, if you're not going to be a first-round pick, I would always tell an underclassman to stay in school. That's hard to play with your 2 brothers.
Deep punt. Young, the 21, spins out of a tackle. Down the sideline. Finally knocked out of bounds at the 48-yard line. 40 yards on the punt, 28 on the return. The Cowboys lead by a field goal, 13-10 over Southern Miss. Welcome back to Houston as we continue with the Houston Bowl, Oklahoma State and Southern Miss. 4:47 remaining in the second quarter. Dustin Allman, the redshirt freshman who had started 3 games earlier this season with a concussion to the starter Mickey D'Angelo, thrust into a role today because of an injury to D'Angelo, and he's played well, 5 of 10. He's rushed for a touchdown, and he's getting some help from his running game. 69 yards on the ground so far by Southern Miss.
Showing us some guts by standing in there and taking some shots to the mouth, too.
Play action. Looking deep, and he's got a receiver down the right sideline. What a wonderful catch. Chris Johnson hauls it in with one hand inside the 10-yard line.
Now we've seen 2 times Almond's overthrown wide open receivers. This time, nice throw, fades it to the outside where only his guy could get it. How about that one-handed paw bringing it in by Johnson? That is how you take advantage of it. Good return on special teams. Come back and respond with the first play down the field. Nice job. That throw was tougher than the other 2 that he missed, Mark. But it looks like he's getting into a little rhythm. Great catch by Johnson to keep that ball alive.
They pick on the 2 freshmen, Vernon Grant, number 20. Now the little flare screen pass. And he's dropped immediately by Grant.
And by his own man, Jeremy Bridges. That big fella's trying to get out there and knock somebody over every time, isn't he?
He's done a great job today. We saw him earlier level a defensive back. He comes up limping a little bit. And he himself, a redshirt freshman, 6'4", 307 pounds out of Macomb, Mississippi.
Golly, that was the biggest guy on my high school team at one point at about 215. Frightening. Yeah, and they can also move, too.
2nd and 9. Speed option. Allman puts his heads down and plows up to around the 5-yard line. Chris Massey, the safety, the first one in on the tackle.
Little option, little speed option into the short side. I think it's probably a pretty good decision when you're running to the short side not to pitch that football. And there you see Southern Miss inside the 20 mark, 30 of 45, 22 touchdowns and 8 field goals. Today, 1-for-1. That 30 needs to go up about a handful in order to get up there with where they need to be. But 1-for-1 today, which is huge.
And out of 41 attempts against the defense, OSU has given up 30 touchdowns. Allman tries to get a couple of there under pressure. Antonio Smith gets credit for the tackle after a 2-yard loss. And that...
At least he did something smart by not taking points off the board, by allowing your field goal kicker, not taking a sack in the red zone, what I mean, Mark. Allowing your guy to come in and kick himself a little 29-yard field goal here. And Jones is 1-for-1 with a 38-yarder. So this should be relatively easy for him.
From 24 yards. Kurt Jones.
Did I say 29? Yeah, 24. My bad.
Is 2 for 2. And we have a tie ball game, 13-all from the Houston Bowl. Welcome back to Houston, Texas, the Houston Bowl, where Oklahoma State and Southern Miss are tied 13-all with 2:29 remaining in the first half. Jacob Madlock will do the kicking for Southern Miss. T.D. Bryant and Chris Massey are back deep for the Cowboys.
Field goal kickers are doing their job today, huh, Mark? What, 4 of 4 now? Is that what it is?
Absolutely. Madlock sends it 5 yards deep. And Bryant's going to take a knee. They'll take over on possession from the 20-yard line. Halftime coming up. Let's check in with Chris Fowler and see what we're going to hear about.
Well, Mark, we're going to talk about the other 2 Big 12 teams in bowl action today. Nebraska trying to outmuscle Ole Miss, and Kansas State, by far the best team playing before New Year's Day, wants to make a strong statement against Arizona State. Plus, we'll check out the conference standings, the Conference Bowl Challenge Cup, an important day for the Big 12 in that. That's coming up when Trevor Mark joins me at halftime.
All right, look forward to it, Chris.
Good games on today, isn't it, Mark?
Capital One Bowl week. You like college football, it's the place to be. Fields tries to go deep, but overthrows Lewis. Bring up a 2nd and 10.
There you see Fields and Almond pretty even. A touchdown pass by Fields, but Almond's come off the bench, did a nice job of keeping them in it with his active feet. Fields been hit a few times, but definitely has a big playability, does Fields and Woods on that side of the ball.
A lot of those yards for Allman on the one catch by Chris Johnson, the one-hander. Fields under pressure with a blitz. Breaks out of the pocket. Steps out of bounds at the 35-yard line. Bowl Championship Series kicks off on ABC. Big 12 champs Oklahoma make their first trip to the Rose Bowl in school history. The Sooners face the Pac-10 champion Washington State Cougars. The Rose Bowl game presented by PlayStation 2 at 4:30 Eastern Time, 1:30 Pacific on ABC Sports Championship Television. Cannot get the game on television? ESPN Radio will have nationwide coverage. ABC Sports, the class of college football.
Trenton Griffin, Oklahoma running back pretty darn good there.
Bell back in the ball game. Takes the ball with gaping hole near midfield. A gain of 15 yards before Edric Pruitt, the free safety, can haul him down.
Bell's been on a bit of a roll the last 5 games, hasn't he, Mark?
100 yards in each of those games after not doing much in the first 5. 1st and 10. Going deep. Woods down the sideline. Great catch. And an open field. Touchdown. Oklahoma State. on the pass play from Fields to Woods. With 1:38 remaining in the first half.
Makes the play over Brooks and Cash. And Mark, I say it every time we do a game. As a defensive back, you must find the ball, not play the receiver, because if you play the receiver, you're too late. You get a chance to see that in a minute.
Phillips on for the extra point. And it's good.
Mark, when you got a receiver like Woods, why not throw the football up? Now, here's the difference. Woods, watching the football, going to come back, see him there squatting on the corner a little bit, get a nice jam. Now watch his head. Look back, look back. Both guys play the man. Easy catch, little run after the catch. That is too easy. And when you got two guys on him, that should not happen, no matter how good he is. And why not if you're Fields? Like I said, throw that ball up. If it's not there, you sometimes get pass interference, or the ball gets batted down, which is fine. But Woods comes back, reaches it at its highest point, culminates in a touchdown.
Probably an ill-advised pass from Fields, but
no doubt.
Woods, 5 catches for 129 yards and a touchdown on the day. His touchdown caps off a 4-play, 80-yard drive that took exactly 1 minute and 45 seconds.
And if you're going to throw it into coverage, that's not a bad guy to throw it to. That's called
short.
And Mark, we've had players we've trusted like that in our careers, where you throw it up and you say, you know what, regardless, he will find a way to make a play on us one way or the other, and that's what Woods did for Fields.
His 17th receiving touchdown of the year, which leads the nation.
And remember, bowl games do count now for the first year in statistics throughout the season, so this counts on all his statistics and his numbers.
Martin, a deep kick. Eubanks driven back 8 yards deep in the end zone, will take the knee. And the Golden Eagles will take over on the 20-yard line. Take a look at the Southern Miss defense, which has been a real good one so far this season. But today, well, a little tougher against this explosive Cowboy offense and Rashawn Woods.
Yeah, I was going to say they haven't seen a guy like this season, have they? Explosive. There you see Davis, Rod Davis, the middle linebacker, and there's Fields, who put that ball up, having a good game, over 200 yards passing already before halftime.
So Allman and the Golden Eagles have a minute 38 left in the half. Try to get back on the board. Allman, the hitch pass. Outside to Johnson, breaks one tackle. Finally pulled down at the 26-yard line after a 6-yard gain. Fontaine Carter with a tackle.
It's a good job by the young redshirt freshman. Goes all the way to his left, come back to his right. Got a hitch route sitting down on the outside and hits Johnson with the pitch. Nice safe throw for 6 yards. I don't sit on this either, Mark. I attack right now. You don't want to get... Don't play scared, but don't play stupid now. Be smart, but go after it.
Uh-oh. Miscommunication that time. And almost interception, as Kenneth Johnson was the intended receiver, but Vernon Grant, the true freshman corner, squatted on the play and almost had himself a pick six.
Yeah, Mark, you mentioned it earlier. Once you continue to go to that well and a quarterback starts staring things down, you start to guess, and here it is. Nope, little stop route, nice drive on it. That may set up down the road, Mark, for a little hitch and go, or a little curl and go if you can get by them. But they're getting a little bit nosy now as Oklahoma State.
Southern Miss 0 for 4 on the day on third down. Hands the ball off to Wally. He's knocked out of bounds, but looks short of the first down. Terrence Robinson, the inside linebacker, gets credit for the tackle.
And 58 seconds might be a little too much time for Oklahoma State's offense if you're Southern Miss's defense as quickly as they can score.
Well, out comes the punt team for the Golden Eagles. Hallman got off a good boot earlier today. Will be kicking to T.D. Bryant. High wobbly punt. Bryant at the 35, nowhere. 38 yards on the punt, maybe 2 yards on the return. John Eubanks, a corner and return man for Southern Miss, the first one.
There's a future quarterback too, Mark. Oh no, he wants to be a wide receiver. Got Rashawn Woods jersey on. I understand why, young fella. Understand why.
You should mention Oklahoma State Bringing about 30,000 fans here with him to this football game. It's a sea of orange.
Boy, is it ever. And Mark, you know, hanging around the hotel where a lot of fans are, they are into it. They were up bright and early this morning, excited about their team, and they should be.
Fields across the middle to Bryant. Alex Ray on the coverage. They'll take over 1st and 10 again after a 20-yard gain from the 42-yard line. In the hurry-up offense, 37 seconds and counting.
Now that there, Mark, there's a little ball movement by the center. That should not be on Southern Miss. He's double clutched the ball, did the center. That should be a motion penalty on Oklahoma State.
Does stop the clock.
On the offense, 5 yards.
Good call. Ben Bowie.
I understand a center trying to give his guys a head start, but this might be a little much. You'll see a lot of times centers will squeeze the ball a little bit to try and get a guy to jump off, but this is more than squeeze. That would be called a semi-snap. Those big fellas are clever.
91, Terrell Paul looking at the ball. That's their cue to get off, not the snap count. Fields throws it back up for Woods again. And Woods this time can't come down with it. Leroy Johnson on the coverage.
Now, Mark, that's the difference. We saw the touchdown to Woods, guys playing the receiver. Now you watch the coverage, and a nice job by Leroy Johnson to go up. Now, look, he's playing ball all the way. He eyeballs the ball, jump. I'm going to get it at its highest point also. That's great secondary coverage by him, and a big difference in the touchdown in that one, not letting Woods beat you to the punch.
Fields getting a little too comfortable about just throwing the ball up nonchalantly. He needs to drive that ball when he has that kind of coverage. 2nd and 15. The slant pass inside the Woods, but there's a flag on the play. So that play will stand. Now we have 15 seconds on the clock. Sean trying to get inside probably the 30-yard line for a decent chance at a field goal here.
Right. You can either use the timeout or pound the outside lane with a little out cut.
Offside on the defense. Penalty is declined. 3rd down.
And they need a few more yards of 3rd down in order to be able to kick the field goal, too, because this would be about a 54-yard field goal. We got a little timeout here to talk it over.
Well, they probably have a shot at what? Maybe 1 play? 2?
At the most.
At the most?
Kill it. And you know what's interesting, Mark? The last field goal that was kicked was 52 yards.
Yes. Might
have been good for 10, 12, 15 more. So they probably don't need far to go to get to his legitimate range.
Well, as they try to figure out another way to put some points on the board to come up with a bold victory here, they're trying to add on to a couple of big wins that came together for them late in the year. First against Nebraska, 24-21. As Fields found a way to get the ball to Lewis, and then against Oklahoma. Later in the season, the final game, Rashawn Woods, a huge day, had 3 touchdowns. And it's the first time in Oklahoma State University football history the Cowboys beat both Nebraska and Oklahoma in the same season.
And you know, Mark, Nebraska, and they're playing in that Independence Bowl later on ESPN. Get the chance to see Eli Manning for Ole Miss, but Nebraska, even though they were down, they're 7-5. Frank Solich's team, and a lot of talk out of Nebraska. I know they've had to fire some coaches, but you know what's amazing? 34th straight bowl appearance for Nebraska, which is unbelievable.
3rd down, they stay on the ground and hand it off. Maybe 2-3 yards. OSU uses up a timeout.
Got to kick this one now. This is well within his range. And they got the ball spotted pretty good there inside the hash marks.
It's going to be all of a 51-yard field goal here. What you don't want is the low trajectory field goal kick that gets blocked and returned.
Yes, sir. And that has tendency to happen on long field goals when you're trying to drive the football.
Well, as we mentioned, it's important that Oklahoma State, important for both teams to win a bowl. The last time The Cowboys won a bowl game. What about Barry Sanders? He had a pretty big day. Did he? 222 yards.
He's pretty good, isn't he?
Yeah, he's not bad. He's not bad.
Even had a football a handful of years, he's still come back and rushed for 1,600 on somebody.
62-14 over Wyoming, the final. That was their last bowl win.
I'd be trying to talk him out of retirement every year, Mark. Unbelievable player and a guy that just did it the right way with class.
52-yard attempt officially for Luke Phillips. Already made one from this distance. And it is blocked.
You, my friend, are prophetic. Not pathetic, prophetic. Calling that one. The low driving field goal that gets blocked on a long distance shot, Mark.
Well, again, as you take a look at it again, it's
going to come from right in here, Mark. And if you try to drive it low from 52 yards, look what happens. You're trying to get all the can out of it. Nice job. Rod Davis got up there. Good job inside. And I believe that was Pruitt, excuse me. Yep. The free safety getting in there, making a play, jumping up high on the low driving field goal. You got to get some trajectory. Excellent job by Southern Miss, and that could become huge in this football game.
Southern Miss has blocked 4 punts this year. They've blocked 11 punts and 9 field goals in the last 3 seasons.
What? I can only think of 2 teams that are in that category, Mark. Air Force is one of the better special teams like that in blocking, and Frank Beamer's Virginia Tech team also. Special teams are huge, and that is a big block to keep this thing within 7 points as we head into halftime.
Dead ball, delay on the offense, 5 yards, first down.
Well, 2 seconds remaining on the clock. All Dustin Allman needs to do is execute the snap and take a knee. And the Golden Eagles can regroup at halftime.
We got ourselves a game, though, Mark.
We do. We didn't know how Southern Miss would react without Derek Nix, their big-time running back, who's sitting on the sideline with a kidney, or without their starting quarterback, Mickey D'Angelo. They've done a good job trailing now 20-13 after the first half here at the Houston Bowl. Let's check in with Chris Fowler. Chris?
All right, Mark, thank you. Yeah, in a bowl season in which the average margin so far has been 20.
Welcome back to second half action of the Houston Bowl in Houston, Texas, Reliance Stadium. A 1-touchdown lead by Oklahoma State. 20-13 over Southern Miss. That man, Rashawn Woods, having a big first half as advertised.
You know what's interesting, Mark, is you say, okay, the one guy that can't beat us is Rashawn Woods if you're a Southern Miss, and he goes out there and goes crazy in the first half. A couple 200 yards passing plus for Fields, and Woods a big part of that.
Southern Miss had won the toss and deferred, so they'll receive in the second half. Eubanks takes it deep into knee. Southern Miss will 20-yard line. If you missed any part of the first half action, as we mentioned, Rashawn Woods, 6 receptions, 140 yards, and a touchdown. Great body control. Dustin Allman, who had to fill in for Mickey D'Angelo, also did a nice job, but a lot of field goal kicking in the first half, including Kurt Jones there, who had a 38-yarder and a 24-yarder. Luke Phillips of OSU added 2 field goals as well, including the career-tying 52-yard field goal. So Allman takes over. Roden on motion. And they try to go inside. And there is a whole slew of Oklahoma State defenders, gain of about 1.
Mark, I came into this saying it'd be a game of big plays, and you and I talked about it, and it's been big plays and lack thereof. Southern Miss had a couple home runs that they missed. Then hit the long one to Johnson. We've seen Woods with a big home run play in the end, the deep in cut that he caught, and the run after the catch on another deep out cut. So the big plays are what's making the difference in this game right now.
And Allman's ability to scramble around when things break down certainly kept Southern Miss in this ball game. Johnson in motion. Wally finds a crease, bangs it out to about the 26, 27-yard line before Craig brings him down. Let's check in with Tracy Wilson. Tracy?
Thanks, guys. Well, I spoke to both coaches at halftime, and Jeff Bauer said his team, his defense needs to play better on third downs. That last touchdown, they should have picked off that ball. They need to double coverage more and just play better on third down. As for Les Miles, he just said that they need to settle down and relax a bit. His team is too hyper. The penalties have killed them. If they relax and play their game, they'll be just fine.
Well, they've struggled on third down, Tracy. 0 for 6 today. Allman breaks breaks contain, puts his shoulder down and gets it out to about the 38-yard line before Albert Craig drags him down.
Here is again Dustin Allman, Mark, a little break, a little three-step drop, protection breaks down, and it's nice to have the athleticism and the ability to do this when nothing's there. And you know what, Mark, we may see more of that all day long. If, in fact, you can't protect, it's nice to have a guy who can make something happen, because 6, 8, 10 times in a game, you're going to have to do that.
And a couple of times today, OSU has come up and pressed the issue. Of course, Chris Johnson hauling in a beautiful catch, got him in position for a field goal. Allman pumps, finds his way through the defense, lowers his shoulder and out to the first down marker, close to midfield, gain of about 10 yards. Chase Holland is on the receiving end of Allman's shoulder.
How about this? Nice job getting out. He's going to be tired when this game's over. But he's keeping a minute. Basically going to roll right here a little bit. Little play action fake. His head's up the field. He doesn't like it, so instead a little cut inside. If you don't like it, don't throw it to somebody else. Instead of going out of bounds, pushes, gets the first down. Puts his head down. Nice job. Little linebacker love. Playing quarterback right there.
First and 10 from the 49. Play action to Wally. Looking deep. Has a man. Just overthrows Johnson. Good coverage by both Massey and Craig.
I like that, Mark. Taking shots. Why not? Why not take a shot down the field? We've seen it a couple times on both sides of the ball. They've missed a couple. Hit one, has Southern Miss. And I had a chance there, just a little bit out in front. But now if you're Oklahoma State and you continue to see these balls being pushed down the field, you got to step off a little bit and step off a little bit, and allows these little hitch routes and slant routes to be a little more open.
Surprisingly, Allman is taking care of the ball today. No interceptions. Wally, cutback, out to a 45-yard line, gain of about 5 before Kyle Beck brings it down.
You're not doing a bad job, Wally, for a guy who's only started one game, this being his second start on the season, Mark. Obviously, with Nick's out and being their best back most of the year and battling that kidney injury, and with him out now, Wally's got the responsibility, but doing a nice job of carrying some load today.
1 of 7 on third down. Broden steps off and goes in motion. Play action. In the flat, Broden. The first down and more. Down the sideline, one missed tackle. Tripped up at about the 3-yard line by Terrence Robinson, the middle linebacker. 43 yards on the play.
Now, Broden's run was impressive. That's a big fella. The catch with the hands. I want you to watch Johnson, though, on the block. This is a receiver working downfield, going to turn and spring and kick out. Nice job to give him another advantage. Broden motoring down the sidelines. I love Johnson's block. And Allman, once again, it's a game of big plays today. And Southern Miss is responding.
Broden came into the game with just 3 receptions on the season. And by the way, 2 of those were for touchdowns. First and goal, speed option, pitch. Wally, touchdown, Southern Miss.
They're showing me something, aren't they?
They are multi-dimensional with Dustin Allman in the backfield at quarterback.
They sure are. They get to do a few different things with the run and the pass. We saw Broden take it down the sideline, the good effort by the receiver, and now the nice pitch back on the option from Allman to Wally, who muscles his way in for the touchdown, and we're within a point here. Good read by the quarterback coming down the line on the option.
Well, this team has made 97 straight extra points. Kurt Jones makes it 98. And we have a tie ball game, 20 all.
Mark, again, it's Allman. They got down the field quickly, but it's a quarterback making good, sound decisions. Have a look here. There's a big fella in the flat. Got to have some help from your friends, and he does from his wide receiver. Motors down, gets it inside to 5, and then turn around. Let's run a little option coming down the line. A nice pitch. Wally takes it in. We got a 20-20 tie.
Game 2020, Southern Miss, Oklahoma State. Mark Malone, Sean Salisbury, Tracy Wolfson here. Glad you could be with us. As Southern Miss has answered every score here today, even without their big running back, Derek Nix. Madlock sends it deep. Massey from 2 yards deep. Smacked at the 18-yard line.
Hello.
Kevis Coley.
Mark, touchdown here, the option. You're going to challenge that guy, come right down the line, keep the distribution for the pitch, and we got to come. That's why we call it the speed option, so you can attack right now. He does a nice job of making him commit, kicks it outside. Now it's one-on-one. Wally's going to win that most of the time. Excellent read by Dustin Allman.
Now there's a dirty jersey. Usually when your jersey's that dirty as a quarterback, your team's not doing very well, but they're doing just fine with him at quarterback.
You bet, and he's playing, standing in there, taking it on the chin and playing good football.
Fields fakes to Shaw, out to Woods on the hitch. He's hit immediately by Ettrick Pruitt. That is Mickey D'Angelo there.
Right here, Mark.
Starting quarterback today.
A hat on.
With a hat on. He had a rib injury in practice on Saturday and missed most of the repetitions during practice. Tried to come out here, played 1 series, overthrew a couple of balls. And Jeff Bauer, the head coach, decided to go with the backup Dustin Allman.
Paying off for him, too. He's responded.
Shaw for a first down out to the 34-yard line before Johnson brings him down. 9 yards on the carry.
That'll help, especially for a team that likes to throw the football and spread you out some. Hand it inside, let Shaw get you 9 yards, get a first down.
They're trying to figure him out on the sideline. 112 rushing yards on the day so far for Southern Miss, and that's allowed Dustin Long to have, or Dustin Allman, excuse me, to have a little pressure taken off of him. Fields, under pressure, gets outside, looks deep, and then throws it down underneath to Charlie Johnson. 11 yards and another first down.
It's good awareness by Fields. Good awareness by Fields. You're going to see Rod Davis, who's got 10.5 sacks, going to come right down the middle, right here, come in through. He's going to elude him, keep his head up the field. Presence in that break in the tackle zone. Nice pitch and catch for the first down. Good awareness to elude Rod Davis, who comes from all over the place, and amazing he didn't make the tackle because he's only made about 8,000 of them this year.
Inside to Shaw, picks up about 2 yards. And your boy Davis again on the tackle.
And Mark, to think, as you mentioned earlier in the broadcast, that the guy, you know, in an automobile accident, his back has been bothering him, missed a little bit of practice time. Sure doesn't look like it, does he?
No, again, he's filed papers with the NFL Advisory Board. He's looking to see whether or not he'll be a first or maybe second-round draft choice. He's a redshirt junior. He might go to the NFL. He'll graduate in spring. All-Conference USA. 2nd and 8. Quick wing pass to T.D. Bryant. Incomplete.
And getting back to Rod Davis, Mark, is a middle linebacker who's been stout enough to handle guys coming at his feet inside, but at 6'3", 238 pounds, you know, Mark, he's in that where you can play outside linebacker, inside linebacker, and give him some strong safety. I mean, he's got that kind of athleticism to move around. 10.5 tackles in 11 out of 12 games, 10-plus tackles.
6'3", 238. And just a youngster, probably grow a little bit.
Hey.
Fields on today, 17 of 28, 251 and 2 touchdowns. Faces a 3rd and 8 for the Cowboys. Quick pass. Inside to John Lewis. But Greg Brooks beats him to the point and forces the Cowboys to punt the football away.
That's a good job by Brooks. Read and slant. You got single coverage. You drive on the ball and beat the receiver to the spot. That's the receiver's responsibility to beat the defensive back in man coverage. The quarterback's got to throw it to a spot. And there the defensive back wins that battle.
Farden averaging 43 yards a punt today. Deep ball. Marvin Young at the 14. gets the sideline, and forced out of bounds at the 43-yard line. Elbert Craig makes the stop after a 24-yard return. Ball game's tied 20-20. Southern Miss takes over on downs. Even without their bell count, Derek Nix, Southern Miss won't go away. 9:13 remaining in the third quarter. We have a tie ball game, 20-20. As Nix looks on. The Baby Bull. They're playing this game in his honor today. Penetration by Kevin Williams blows up the play. Allman didn't have a chance to hand the football off.
Wonder who got off the ball quicker on this one.
Man.
Kevin Williams was the running back there. You see the 6'5", 290-pound senior.
-6 on the play brings up a 2nd and 16.
And when you're 290 and you possess that kind of quickness, Mark, that's a great advantage for the next level.
All-state basketball player in high school averaged 18 points, and he's playing defensive tackle. Allman to Wally. Hit at the line of scrimmage and drug down for about no gain. Richmond, the first one to get there for the Cowboys. And that sends the Cowboy fans to the tizzy here.
And there's a lot of them. What did they bring, Mark? Some 30+ thousand or something?
Yeah, they did. There's at least 30,000. Sea of Orange here, the Reliant Stadium. Third down conversions has been a problem for the Golden Eagles. And this one's a long one. Allman forced out of the pocket. Drags it down. And then runs into Fatah Carter.
Got a late flag, too, Mark. You think he'll get a face mask or a late hit out of bounds? Look at that guy. You think he's been in a football game today?
It's good to be young.
Yes, sir. Come see me in about 15 years and your body can't recover as fast.
Another penalty on the Cowboys.
Third personal foul called on them today, Mark, on Oklahoma State. And they've all come at this guy's expense right here.
Clearly frustrating the Oklahoma State defense. Piling on there.
They're going to call that on Richmond. Isn't that the second?
That's the second one, the second personal foul today on Richmond.
Now, this is tough to do. Is watch him leave his feet while he's still in bounds, and then he comes down on him. That's hard. That's tough there, Mark. He'd already left his feet, and he had nowhere to land but on the top of him, but it's going to cost him 15 yards.
Les Miles' team, 8 penalties, 80 yards on the day. Wally, inside, maybe 2 yards. The Waylon Brown on the stop.
Richmond flew. Looked like he was going to fly right on and just keep on going, huh?
Let's check in with Tracy Wilson. Tracy?
Thanks, guys. Well, USM counts almost 180 non-people in their total travel party. 110 of those are players. That's normally 30 more than they normally travel with. The reason they were able to do this is because they took busloads here instead of chartering a jet so that everyone can come and watch the game and be here and experience it. It saved them $50,000. Back to you guys.
All right, Tracy. Money well spent. And all having a good time here as we have another penalty flag.
Anytime you can bust down here, save $50,000 and be tied at 20-20 and have 3 of 8 on third down conversions, you're doing all right, or 3 of 9, whatever it is.
But it's important to win because you know as well as I do, you lose this game, that's a long bus ride back home.
Yes, it is. And, you know, Mark, in all seriousness, it's also important you're in a national televised audience. The recruits that you're going to be seeing in the next month and a half are watching this football game. They're watching how you play offense. They're watching how you play defense. And they're watching this kid saying, if I got to play quarterback and get that dirty, maybe I don't want to go there. But they're fighting and battling. And so there's a lot of the things that come out of this by being here in this bowl game.
Wally. Good enough for a first down. Antonio Smith on the tackle. Jeff Bauer, 2-time Conference USA Coach of the Year.
See, if you're Allman, you kind of like that, don't you, Mark? Dirty jersey, everybody's looking to say, this guy's been in a game.
You know, he doesn't have the skills yet, but reminds me, or at least plays the game a lot like another guy that went to Southern Miss, Brett Favre.
Yeah.
He'd be dirty and running around and taking people on, wouldn't he?
No doubt about it. Tell him not to wash his jersey next week either so he could wear it.
Play action. Gets it outside to Chris Johnson. It's going to be good for about 7 or 8 yards. Capital One Bowl Week continues on ESPN with 2 more games. Up next, Nebraska and the Ole Miss Rebels clash in the Mainstay Independence Bowl. Then at 8 Eastern, L. Roberson leads the number 6 ranked Kansas State Wildcats against the Arizona State Sun Devils in the 25th annual Pacific Life Holiday Bowl from Qualcomm Stadium in San Diego, California. More on this season's entire college football bowl games. You can log on to ESPN.com. Wally up inside. That's going to be enough for a first down. Take a look at that Holiday Bowl. How about my boys out there from Arizona State?
I'll tell you what, Mark, their defense is playing very good the last 4 games. You see there in the first meeting between these two in 13 years. But Terrell Suggs,
yes,
22 sacks this year, led the nation, and he had 29.5 tackles for loss. They don't get a lot of love, defensive players, but he deserves a ton of it because his motor runs throughout the entire game.
Well, they will be challenged against that.
Kansas State can score some points now.
Absolutely, they sure can. Kevin Williams drops the running back Wally for a loss.
You talk about creating a new line of scrimmage, Mark. Man alive, Kevin Williams is getting into the backfield. Going to come right inside here. Have a look. Somebody got to block him because you can't leave 290 pounds of athleticism right there. You're going to get your running back killed. He comes off, going to get a helmet adjustment. But that's 2 plays on this drive alone that he's been to the backfield before the quarterback or the running back could even get started.
You look at his numbers, 54 tackles, 10 for loss, 4 sacks. They don't jump out at you, but you know as well as I do, you have to put 2 guys on him every play. Allows other people to make plays.
You bet.
9th play of the drive for Southern Miss. Allman, the hitch route, outside to Johnson. That's going to get some of it back. Good for about 4 yards before the freshman Vernon Grant knocks him out of bounds.
Yeah, but that's okay too, Mark. You get some of that back. We said they were going to back off a little if you challenge them. They've challenged them deep a couple times. Now you're going to get to 3rd down, but you'll take that 3 or 4 yard gain. And now at least makes it somewhat manageable. Although 3rd and 7 isn't easy, you still got a shot at it.
Jeff Bauer, the head coach, sending in the plays to his gritty quarterback, the redshirt freshman, Dustin Allman.
And he better hurry. 8 seconds on this delay clock. Use the timeout there, young fella. Don't.
There he goes. At least he's aware of the clock, and he does call the timeout. That's almost a product of the head coach not getting the play in quick enough.
That's right. It took a little too long. They had a little trouble getting out of the huddle, but a smart move to call timeout and give your team a chance.
Well, while Dustin Allman talks it over with his head coach, we're going to take a break. All tied, 20-all from the Houston Bull. This won't go away here in Houston against Oklahoma State. They started on their own 43, tied at 20-all here. And this is the 10th play of the drive.
Alert pressure if you're this quarterback from Oklahoma State's defense.
3rd and 7. Allman bails out. Makes one guy miss. Down to about the 12-yard line before Richmond puts him to the ground. A 4-yard gain, but short of the first down marker.
The key to this, though, didn't take a sack that brought him deep from field goal, making a 40-some-yarder. Keeps him in there, gets some yardage out of it. Now going to have a good look at a 30-some-yard field goal mark, probably right around 30 yards to be exact.
Kurt Jones today already hit on 2 field goals. He's 2 for 2 from 38 and 24 yards. This will be from 30 yards. Good snap and hold. Right down the middle. And for the first time today, Southern Miss takes a 3-point lead over Oklahoma State. Jeff Bauer's got to feel happy. The Cowboys with the ball when we come back. Without their starting quarterback, Mickey D'Angelo, who's been sidelined with a rib injury, Southern Miss still finds themselves on top with 4:13 remaining in the 3rd quarter. 23-20. Thanks in large part to that dirty man right there, the redshirt freshman, Dustin Allman.
Unbelievable, Mark, with the performance he's had. Yeah, little yawn by Mr. Nix. What a great career he's had, although it's over, Mark. Now he's in a battle of more important things in football and dealing with that kidney ailment, but what a good kid he is.
Massey from the 1. Picks up the picket fence. Finds the sideline. Still on his feet. Finally drugged down at the 47-yard line. Long way to go to that picket fence, but paid off when he got there.
Sure does. It's nice to have speed in order to catch up to that picket fence. When you give up a point on one end, it's nice to have momentum shift right back to you. Get it down the sideline, comes clear across the field. They got a wall set up on the far side, gets it out to the 47-yard line, which is great field position for Oklahoma State, who's down by 3.
First time they've trailed today. Fields to Seymour, who's hit and drags a tackler for about 4 yards. If you're just joining us, we're here in Houston, Texas at Reliance Stadium, the Houston Bowl, University of Southern Mississippi, and Oklahoma State University. And it's been a good one so far. Mark Malone, Sean Salisbury, broadcast partner, Tracy Wilson down on the sideline. Fields. Shaw, who's dropped immediately at the line of scrimmage by Joe Henley, the linebacker. No gain. We mentioned at the top, no Derek Nix, no Mickey D'Angelo. How has Southern Miss continued to stay in this football game?
Well, Mark, they have done a good job of running the football. We said they had to control the ball. They've had a couple of long drives that have kept Oklahoma State on the sideline. They've given up a few big plays defensively, but what they've done, they've responded with some big plays themselves. They got a backup quarterback really coming off the bench. They got a backup running back, and they've managed to stay in this football game, and their defense has played well here in the second half.
9 penalties committed by Oklahoma State has also helped the Southern Miss team as Fields looks deep to Lewis. Overthrown, but there's a flag on the play. Leroy Johnson was in man-on-man coverage and looked to be holding Lewis.
I need to see that one. I need to have a good look at this one, because I don't know.
Pass interference.
Let him play football now. Okay, yeah, there you go. That's fair. I thought he pushed off. That's a little grabbing by. That's a very, very good, great shot by our camera people. And he grabs him by the arm and runs with him about 15 yards. That's a good call by the official.
Good try. He hooked him and kept him in there real tight. A good official. It's hard to spot him.
Yeah, and you know what? And it's a great job by the official. And the key, Mark, is you're right. If he got in there and had a grab on, but then he wrapped his arm around in a big circle, and it was too easy to see for the official. That's a good call. That's why those guys are so good at what they do on a football field.
Trailing by 3, Oklahoma State now in business at the 34-yard line. 1st and 10. Tatum Bell now in a tailback.
Pressure.
Quick out route to Woods. Spins back inside and goes down at the 25-yard line.
Mark, here's what I like. As a quarterback and a wide receiver on the same page, understand you're going to get pressure here. Take your drop, get it out of your hands on a 6-yard quick out. Let your guy run after the catch. Nice job, nice accurate, recognizing it. No wasted motion by Josh Fields. Rashawn Woods giving him a nice target to throw to. Come to the line of scrimmage, recognize you're getting pressure, and now put you in 2nd 1.
Woods now with 155 yards receiving on the day. A pump. Goes for Woods, one-on-one to the left side. Great coverage. The ball goes out of bounds. Leroy Johnson, who was called for the penalty 2 plays earlier, does a good job.
We knew they'd see a bunch of one-on-one today, Mark. That's what Southern Miss does. They do a lot of different things with their front 7 and front 8. Put corners out there on an island at times, and nice job in the secondary there, not allowing Woods, who was single covered, to get open. Now here's a different formation for you.
Quarterback sneak. Fields keeps it over the left side. Entering through it. The free safety up around the line of scrimmage. Gets credit for the tackle.
That looked like a rugby scrum formation. Drop the ball in the middle. Let's get after it.
Well, unconventional, but very effective.
You bet. See all those orange jerseys. There's a ton of those in this ballpark today. All over the place in Reliance Stadium. Les Miles, the head coach, Oklahoma State.
He says that this football program is on the brink of Big 12 significance as they throw it outside quickly to Woods. He's down to the 15-yard line. Saturday Capital One Bowl Week continues with games on ESPN and ESPN2 at 11 a.m. Eastern on ESPN2. The Virginia Cavaliers meet the West Virginia Mountaineers in the inaugural Continental Tire Bowl at Erickson Stadium in Charlotte, North Carolina. Then at 8 Eastern on ESPN, it's the Alamo Bowl presented by MasterCard. The Colorado Buffaloes meet the Wisconsin Badgers at the Alamo Dome in San Antonio, Texas.
Chris Brown and Anthony Davis in that game. These two teams have combined to run the ball over 1,200 times this year, Mark. Old-time football at its best.
Speaking of running, Tatum Bell takes a toss to the left side, right around the first down marker. Davis and Pruitt force him out of bounds.
You know, Mark, talking about that Colorado-Wisconsin game, a lot of people felt that Chris Brown, you and I got to cover Larry Johnson, and I know we saw McGahee, but that Chris Brown was as good a back as there was in the United States this year. So you're going to see some great running game in that Alamo Bowl, Colorado versus Wisconsin.
And we ran into some Wisconsin fans on the rent-a-car bus at the airport, heading on down to San Antonio through Houston here to watch that football.
Dad and his son going to watch ball together. Fun for them.
First down. Fields bootleg. The crossing route to Bajema falls short. Henley on the coverage. Take a look at Oklahoma State offense inside the 20 here, Sean.
You think that's pretty good, Mark?
That's pretty good.
1 of 2, 50%, but 37 of 46. The thing that I love is this right here. 34 touchdowns and 3 field goals.
Well,
pretty nice. There he is, Mike Gundy, former player here, played with Barry Sanders, record-setting quarterback. Now trying to be a record-setting offensive coordinator. And he's got this team going offensively to the tune of 34-plus points a game this year.
They do it with a lot of formations. This time, bunch left. They hand it to Bell inside, and he's hammered by Henley. Number 2. Joe Henley came flying in there.
Mark, you mentioned, well, what has Southern Miss done? Well, in the second half, I can tell you what they've done. Come right in here. They're beating Oklahoma State to the punch up front. They're beating them off the line of scrimmage. They're hitting them in the mouth. Aside from a penalty on a big play, Southern Miss's defense is doing what they've done best all year, and that is hit people in the mouth and keep them out of the end zone.
Henley, a Conference USA linebacker, as OSU now lines up with 4 wide receivers. 3rd and 9. Fields under pressure, gets away from one tackler, and finally dragged down by Rayshon Jones. It won't be recorded as a sack because it's past the line of scrimmage. That's going to bring up the end of the 3rd quarter. Southern Miss leads by a field goal, 23-20 from the Houston Bowl. Back with more action after this. Quarter here in Houston, Southern Miss, a surprising leader, 23-20 over Oklahoma State. The Cowboys line up for a field goal. Luke Phillips. And it's good.
I like these kickers, Mark. Both sides, these guys are with authority.
Phillips, a 46-yarder earlier today, a 52-yarder, had a 52-yard attempt blocked, and then makes good on that field goal to tie the football game up at 23-all. And I'll tell you, as we've said, Southern Miss just won't go away. This is a football team with a lot of heart.
Well, and Mark, their defense has decided that they're going to take control of the game, which is the strength of their football team, especially without their top flight running back, Derek Nix. And on the other side, you and I talked about it off the air, the protection of the football. Allman, who comes in, he's protected the football so well. And if you don't turn it over, when you're playing a better offense than you have, you'll stay in the game.
Oh, absolutely. Rod Davis, the big linebacker, doing a heck of a job as well. Let's check in with Tracy Wilson. Trace?
Thanks, guys. Well, I'm here with Derek Nick. Nick, first off, how are you feeling right now?
Feeling really good now. You know, the game is still tied right now, and hopefully we can pull this out.
How about physically?
Physically, you know, I'm feeling as well as I can right now. You know, I'm going through my kidney treatment and everything, but feeling fine.
How hard is it for you to stand on the sidelines, watch your team play, want to contribute, and also know that, you know, you felt just 12 yards shy of the all-time rushing record here at SMU?
I think just not being able to play has just been hard for me. But the record, you know, is a record. You know, it has its place. But being out there on the field with those guys is something I wish I could do.
What now, Nick? What do you have in the future? What do you have to go through in terms of procedures?
Well, just trying to go ahead and finish my master's and maybe get into coaching and see what else can happen.
Thanks a lot. Good luck. Our thoughts are with you.
All right, thank you.
All right, Tracy, thank you very much. Eubanks takes the return out to the 45-yard line, but there's a flag on the play.
And they sure do love Derek Nix at Southern Miss, don't they, Mark?
Back on the return team, 10 yards from the spot of the foul. First down.
What a nice young man.
Oh.
You hate for a guy that young to have to go through a battle. Here he is at the prime of his life in his football career, and now he's in for a battle, which is amazing. But what a great attitude he has.
And for people who aren't familiar with his story, he rushes in 98-99 for 1,000 yards. Then has an ankle injury that's pretty severe. They have to put him on some anti-inflammatories that they believe caused a reaction that attacked his kidneys. And he has been struggling with that, missed most of the 2000 and 2001 season with that, came back this year, rushed for 1,000 yards, missed one game, finished up with 139 yards in the finale against East Carolina, and then the kidney problem flared back up again.
Amazing that he was able to even go out there and perform like he did, Mark.
First and 10 now from the 23. Wally to the left. Picks up 5 yards on the play before Lawrence Pinson drags him down from behind. The Baby Bull, as we take a look at his career numbers, pretty darn good. Over 3,000 yards rushing. And as Tracy mentioned, 12 yards shy of the SMU all-time career rushing record.
And as you heard him say, the record, hey, you know, that's no big deal. He wishes he could be out there helping his team. Boy, what a contribution he's made in his career here.
2nd and 4. His backup Wally takes the counter and is dropped. The line of scrimmage by Pinson, again on the tackle.
And I also can't imagine, Mark, being Derek Nix, if you've been successful in your career, to all of a sudden have somebody come and tell you, you know what, you're not going to be able to play anymore when you're at the height of it. You know, you're looking forward possibly to playing at the next level, and now he's going to have to go into coaching. You've heard him talk about finishing his master's degree. So he's a bright young man, but that's got to be tough because most of us, you know, Mark, we want to push the envelope as much as we can, but when you're that young and don't have an opportunity to perform at the next level, I know that's got to be a bummer for him.
His brother Tyrone Nix, the defensive coordinator for Southern Miss, the 2nd youngest coordinator in college football. Oh, off the helmet of the wide receiver. Allman drills the football to Leroy Handy. Handy doesn't even see it, goes right off of his helmet and up in the air, almost an interception.
Yeah, he may not have saw it, but I'll tell you what, he felt it. You can hear it up here. Little crossing route. Got to get your head around. You got to get your head around. See, he was looking for the crosser that he was going to cross over the top of. But when that ball's coming out and you got pressure, the second you clear the line of scrimmage, you have got to locate your quarterback and get your hands and eyes back at him.
Holman today, just over 40 yards, average. T.D. Bryant, deep for the Cowboys. Snap a little high. And this an end-over-end kick, short and out of bounds at about the 44-yard line. So good field position now for the Cowboys, who have managed to bring themselves into a tie with Southern Miss. 23-all from Houston. Back after this. Welcome back to Houston, the Houston Bowl. Stay tuned. More college football bowl action coming up from the Mainstay Independence Bowl.
Eli Manning, Ole Miss.
Capital One Bowl week continues as Fields hands the ball off to Tatum. Dragged down by Henley at the 45-yard line after a gain of 14. Let's get you caught up and tell you how Southern Miss somehow has managed to stay in this football game. It has a lot to do with the backup quarterback, Dustin Allman, who's been, well, as much running back as he's been quarterback today. 11 of 19 for 173 yards. No touchdowns, but more importantly, no interceptions. And, of course, 14 carries, including the 13-yard touchdown run. And I'll tell you what, in the mold of Brett Favre, a Southern Miss grad, that kid knows how to play football.
You're doggone right. And if I was him, I'd steal that jersey and take it home with me. It's so dirty, you deserve it after what you put in. Steal's not a good word. How about just keep, man?
There you go. Fields throws it up, and it's intercepted by Brooks. Finally, see. The jump ball that he's thrown 3 or 4 times today to Woods comes back to haunt him.
Mark, you made the point in the first half when he threw one up. He got a touchdown out of it, then threw another one up that got knocked down. Well, he does it. You said he's going to get himself in trouble, and he did. He's going to lob it up there. I understand having trust and confidence in your All-America type receiver in Woods. But you know what? You can't do that. Throw it into double coverage. That's an easy interception. And you see Brooks catching it again, Mark. He's not playing the receiver. He's playing deep safety in the middle of the field. He's going to sit back there and catch it at his highest point. Bam. Interception. Could be costly now. Coming out of their own end zone. They're coming out of their own 10-yard line now for Southern Miss. Bad throw.
From the 9, Wally, off left tackle. Out to about the 15-yard line before Kevin Williams brings him down. Gain of 6 on the play.
He's run the ball pretty hard today, hasn't he, Mark?
He's run extremely well. You look at what Southern Miss has done so far, rushing the football, 128 yards to Oklahoma State's 60 yards. And again, them being able to run the football has helped this redshirt freshman quarterback.
No doubt, Mark, we're coming in with Nix not being able to play. We said they had to control it, and Wally was going to have to shoulder that, and he's done a good job. There is a team up over 100 yards with the quarterback and running backs combined.
Great play action fake by Allman on the bootleg naked. Stretches out for the first down, and it's going to be close. Chris Massey, the weak safety, is the only man standing between him and a long run down the left sideline.
Mark, have you ever noticed that sometimes stars are born in the craziest of times, coming off the bench, don't think you're going to play? Kid uses great ball handling here, and then this is the effort I like, stretching and going for the first down. And this redshirt fresh is pretty darn good, and they may have discovered something here at Southern Miss.
People don't understand how difficult it is to stand there calmly with the ball hit behind your back like nothing's happening, because occasionally you'll do that and somebody will earhole you. That's not an easy thing to do.
You turn right around into a train wreck is what you do. There's Mickey D'Angelo, the guy that is hurt, little rib cage problem, and replaced by this quarterback here. And Dustin Allman's done a really nice job of keeping them in the game today.
1st and 10. Allman to the flat. Just out of the reach of the intended receiver, Garner, the tight end. That'll bring up 2nd and 10. I like where he put the ball, though. If you're going to miss it, that's where you want to miss that route.
Yeah, you're throwing outside. Don't miss inside, because somebody takes it back for a touchdown. And it was an accurate throw. A little out in front. The ball's got to be caught. There's head coach Jeff Bauer. I like to call that wig-wagging the signals in.
Well, of the 298 total offensive yards by Southern Miss, that man, Dustin Allman, has 225 of them. Quick drop. Inside. Miscommunication there. Roy Handy seemed to be the intended receiver in the slot. Fontaine Carter on the coverage.
That ball you got to get down. That's the one where you got to body and protect your receiver. Those high throws, he got away with one, because if that ball gets tipped, they usually end up going the other way. Didn't anticipate the throw as well as he has early. The throws before that. But now it's 3rd and 10. Once again, be aware you're backed up. Be aware of pressure and protect the football if you're Dustin Allman.
2 for 11 today on 3rd down. Under pressure from Williams, who drags him down at about the 16-yard line. And all of a sudden, the big defensive tackle starting to raise his ugly head and become a factor in this football game.
This second half, he's been dynamite. Kevin Williams looks like he's playing against the Pop Warner team. He's going to come to the tie. There you out of the screen there, inside. He's been in that backfield more than the running back and quarterback have in the second half, Mark, and that's what you talked about his activity and about his disruption, and he's been doing it all night long here, especially in the second half.
Allman, who punted after a high snap, the last punt, brought his average down to 36 yards in this game, booms one, and sends T.D. Bryant back to the 25-yard line. Bryant breaks a tackle and scrambles his way out to about the 34. 56 yards on the punt, 6 yards on the return, as the Oklahoma State defense rises up, along with Kevin Williams, to keep that man, Dustin Allman, in check. We're tied 23-all from the Houston Bowl. Defensive tackle.
We see you, big fella.
From Fordyce, Arkansas. Boy, has he been a factor here in the second half.
Man,
Cowboys 1st and 10. Bootleg. Bajema, the tight end, hurdles one tackler, cuts it back inside, and finally dragged down at the 34-yard line.
No, that's not Jeremy Shockey in an orange Miami Hurricane jersey you're looking at. Kind of looks like him, though. Bajema, a little bootleg, coming outside naked. Get him into the flat right now. Don't wait for him to be covered. Nice move there. Gets the help from his friends. Runs right through a tackle. That is a huge gain out of your tight end for a first down and moving.
They go back to the ground. Tatum for maybe 2 yards on the play. Bajema came into this football game with just 15 receptions on the year, 1 touchdown, but he had a big game in the season finale against Oklahoma. Sean.
Right, and was a big part of that huge upset that Oklahoma State put on the Sooners. What's that, 2 years in a row now Oklahoma State's got Oklahoma?
Absolutely. Sure that doesn't sit real well in Norman right now.
Oh, you're not kidding, it doesn't.
Second down and 8 from the 32.
That's what those stemming and moving around, Mark, calling a timeout. That's what happens as Southern Miss moves around. They can confuse you a little bit.
Well, both teams now have burned a timeout with 9:20 remaining in the 4th quarter. Ball game time, 23-all. We're back after this.
College basketball on ESPN. Take it to the rack.
Going to go back on a plane or a bus, depending on whether it goes to Southern Miss or Oklahoma State.
How do you get that through security?
I don't know. Second down and 8. Play action. Out in the flats, Denard, but it's broken up by Michael Boley.
Ooh, he keeps his feet, catches that football. Southern Miss is up by 7.
Look at the passing yards allowed. Josh Fields came out and lit it up in the first half. And remember, this was the 5th best passing defense in the country. In the second half, they're playing like the defense we expected.
That's exactly right. They're chesting up on the outside guys, playing physical, and they're pressuring the quarterback.
Fields outside and complete to John Lewis. And we're getting close to record material here for Josh Fields. He's over 300 yards for the day.
Here it is, Mark. He's going to come out here, run an outcut here, and he's going to keep the ball low and outside, give his guy a chance to catch it. When you're Lewis, you're going to get a lot of single coverage with Rashawn Woods on your team. It's a way to body him with the throw. It's the 4th down. I believe they're going for it in that little scrum situation again, Mark. Last time quarterback sneak.
This time over the left side. Good for 3 yards and move the chains. Josh Fields picks it up with a quarterback sneak, but I'll tell you what, so far today, 309 yards, which my stats guy tells me here is a new Houston Bowl record. 307 was the record, held 2 years ago. Cliff Kingsbury put up those numbers.
And 300 and some yards by Cliff Kingsbury. Now is a half.
Yes, exactly. So big day for Josh Fields. Although he struggled a little bit throwing the ball here in the second half. The counter pitch to Bell. Up inside, breaks the tackle. Touchdown, Cowboy. Tatum Bell, 22 yards on the counter pitch.
That's your favorite play, Mark. You talked about that with us yesterday. Get that flow going. You got a linebacker like Rod Davis and a defense that runs. You make it look like you're tossing it to come one way, and he takes a little jab step and goes back across the grain and cuts it inside.
They ran it to death against the Sooners for a ton of yards. Phillips. The extra point is good. Take a look at this thing again. It's a well-designed play. You don't see it back to the weak side.
See what's going to happen, Mark? They start, get a little inside pull now, kicks out, jumps it in there. Tatum for a touch. I'll show you what this thing does here. What it does, it gets people flowing to the left because they think toss outside. It gives somebody a chance to get on. Davis, as you saw, lead up inside, get a body on number 24, who's their best tackler. Get Tatum into the end zone. Because flow starts when you see toss, because that's not your normal counter play.
And they run it, or they start the toss to the bunch side where they have the fullback over there. They flex the tight end. They bring the flanker down. It looks like a power running formation. They start the toss that way and then come back weak. I'll tell you, it really causes.
And they use one of those, the bunch fullback, to come in and be your kick-out guard that kicks out and gets up on a guy like Rod Davis to clear the way. And what you do is you open up that hole, because Davis now has to respect that. It gives you an easier path and an easier angle to block him. And Tatum hits the hole nice and tight, runs it up in there for a score.
The 22-yard touchdown run caps a 6-play, 66-yard drive that took 2 minutes and 26 seconds. And now puts the Cowboys up by a touchdown with 8:07 remaining in the football game. Eubanks takes it at the goal line. Breaks one tackle. He's got some room and he's got some speed. Still on his feet. Finally dragged down at midfield. Capital One Bowl Week continues on ESPN with 2 more games. Up next, Nebraska and the Ole Miss Rebels clash in the Mainstay Independence Bowl. Then at 8 Eastern, L. Roberson leads the number 6 ranked Kansas State Wildcats against the Arizona State Sun Devils and the 25th annual Pacific Life Holiday Bowl from Qualcomm Stadium in San Diego, California. For more on this season's entire college football bowl action, you can log on to ESPN.com.
Mark, as you see, some of the things have gone on already. Cliff Kingsbury. We'll get back to that after this play.
So a 50-yard return. It's Ole Miss in business, or Southern Miss in business, excuse me. Allman, play action, has a man deep, but overthrows him again. Good coverage on the play.
Once again, Mark, Cliff Kingsbury, you talked about the record that was broken today, but here's a guy, 32 of 43. I watched that Tangerine Bowl. He was sensational. We got our first female to appear in a Division I football game. She also makes cookies for the guys, too, so she can kick in. I'm serious.
Easy.
Kick in. No, I'm
Easy. You're
no,
getting a lot of emails.
No, she did. Okay. She actually brought, she admitted that she brought cookies. She makes cookies and could kick, so she's not only a good cook, but she's a good athlete. And that's the truth, I promise. I didn't come up with that.
Second down and 10 from midfield. Wally pushing the pile, grinding it out, picks up maybe 2 yards.
You see, Mark, everybody's so sensitive these days. I'm telling you, the more you can do. If you could play football and cook, you got it licked, man. You're big. That's awesome.
Well, I'll tell you what, I don't know, to be honest with you, what...
Good for her, though, huh?
Well,
to be able to go out and kick it a game.
You know, we've seen it happen from time to time, and I mean, the evolution of the sport and athletes, and there's some great athletes out there, and certainly somebody who can kick the football has an opportunity to
I'm happy for her. I think that's another step in the right direction for female athletes. A lot of it's been in the news lately, Mark, and good for her that she has that chance.
Well, we take Southern Miss now in a situation that is going to create some decision-making for Jeff Bauer.
Got to punt it, don't you, Mark? What do we got, 6:55 left?
I think so, 6:55 remaining.
Defense is playing pretty well other than the touchdown.
A good kick here by Allman, and you got a chance to pin this football team. The Cowboys back deep in their own territory. T.D. Davis deep again. And it looks like they've allowed the time to expire on the play clock, so they'll move it back another 5 yards.
Go. Delay of the game on the offense. 5 yards. 4th down.
When you're closer to the end zone, you might expect that kind of a delay, but not at midfield, Sean.
No, I agree. And his last kick, we booted it out. They must have some confidence he's going to get it deep and back in there. But when you're at midfield, you're back 15 yards from the snap. Move it back 5 more. Field position is what this is going to come down to here in the 4th quarter.
Allman's last punt, 56 yards. An average today of 41. And he bangs this one deep again. Davis lets it go. And it takes a Southern Miss, bounce it down on about the 2-yard line.
Good job getting that penalty.
51 yards on the punt. Oklahoma State takes over, leading 30-23. Brother, and is there any more left at home?
I don't know, but I want to invest in the grandkids. I can assure you that. And one thing you know for sure, Mark, is that he'll understand what's going on the field like every Manning that comes down the pipe does.
Well,
great family.
Oklahoma State begins at their own 2-yard line. Bell, a gaping hole over the right side, breaks into the open, and it's a foot race. Bell, with big-time speed, is finally run down by Brooks. Brooks and Leroy Johnson bring him down, but not after he goes 88 yards on a carry. 1st and 10 from their own 2-yard line.
Do you guys remember Tony Dorsett against Minnesota for 99 yards? Kind of looked a little bit like it, all the way back up. Going to go to the little counter tray, get a man up in there to kick out. And now it's just speed and athleticism. Great effort by Southern Miss to prevent the touchdown. But that can be a backbreaker when you're coming out of your own because you had a good chance to get them back and get good field position. That's a way to get you out of it, and that's why Bell has rushed for over 100 yards 5 times down the stretch here. Great job.
11 rushes now for 145 yards and a touchdown for Bell, who has 4-3. A little bit.
Yeah, just a tad. But did you notice, though, the defense of Southern Miss, Leroy Johnson trying to chase him down, not quitting on it. No. There's Bell, 13-2 a carry. That's pretty good for a day's work, considering that you've thrown the ball for over 300 yards also. Not a bad deal. Jeff Bauer knows that one hurts there, Mark.
Defense has now got to come up with a big play after Tatum Bell rips off the longest run of his career.
This has been such a competitive, good football game on both sides of the ball. A little sloppy early on, but they've kept the flags away here in the second half and just played.
Seymour Shaw now in at halfback for Bell, who gets a rest. He gets the ball on the counter. And hammered by Rayshon Jones after a pickup of a couple.
This is a huge stand for Southern Miss, Mark. Went down by 7. You know, you give up 2 now because of 2 touchdown game. Well, now 2 possessions, you kick a field goal and score if, in fact, they only get a field goal out of this. But this has got to be the typical Southern Miss, who's pretty doggone good in the red zone, to hold these guys to a field goal if possible.
A touchdown would be very difficult to come back off. A 2-touchdown deficit for Southern Miss. He comes up big there. The intended ball for Woods. Leroy Johnson, who saved the touchdown on the coverage. Bauer's got to be extremely proud of this football team. Without a starting quarterback, without the big-time running back.
With the middle linebacker whose back's been bothering him and still making it darn near every tackle. Bell's back in the game, Mark. Remember, he's the one who scored the touchdown on that toss counter. Come back and then the 88-yard run. Don't be surprised.
3rd and goal. They go to Woods, and he can't hold on. Voley and Brooks on the coverage. And that's going to keep Southern Miss in the ball game as Oklahoma State is forced to trot out their field goal team.
You know, Mark, what's interesting is when you got a guy you love to go to like Woods does with Rashawn does, like Josh does with Rashawn. If you hold that ball and come back and check it down, Bell walks into the end zone. It's easy to do when you got a receiver that's good. It's that good like Rashawn Woods.
Phillips looking for his 4th field goal of the day. This from 23 yards. and it's good.
Ugly, but good.
Saturday, Capital One Bowl Week continues with games on ESPN and ESPN2 at 11 a.m. Eastern Time on ESPN2. The Virginia Cavaliers meet the West Virginia Mountaineers in the inaugural Continental Tire Bowl at Erickson Stadium in Charlotte, North Carolina. Then at 8 Eastern on ESPN, it's the Alamo Bowl presented by MasterCard. The Colorado Buffaloes meet the Wisconsin Badgers at the Alamo Dome in San Antonio, Texas. Big East is, well,
they're doing all right, aren't they?
Doing all right. They're representing pretty well so far this bowl week.
Boston College and Pittsburgh, and we know Rod Rutherford. Larry Fitzgerald, the freshman receiver for Pittsburgh, will be the greatest receiver that's ever come out of there. Matter of fact, if he walked in now and was allowed to go to pros, he could start on a bunch of NFL teams tomorrow. What a great player and a great kid. And Pitt's got him. Nice to have a young freshman like that.
Not taking away or taking anything away from Rashawn Woods.
Not at all.
He has a chance to win a Heisman Trophy next year, but if Larry Fitzgerald sticks around, I'll tell you what, he might shatter every receiving record in college football.
You throw Mike Williams, who's a freshman. We got some pretty good freshman receiver at Southern Cal. Pretty good. Marquis. We meaning USC. Yeah, we as alumni. See, you're a Sun Devil for 4 years. You're a Trojan for life.
Oh, is that it? Eubanks from the 3. Oh, hammered. Inside the 15-yard line by Thomas Wright.
And Mark, Oklahoma State's kick coverage team has been given up only 17.2 yards of return, which ranks them at the top of the Big 12. And there you see why. Forcing bad field position again for Dustin Allman in this Southern Miss offense. Getting back to that too, Mark, the Virginia-West Virginia game. In 2001, West Virginia went from 3-8 to 9-3, and Virginia from 5-7 to 8-5. So two of the most improved teams will be in that bowl game.
Rodriguez done a heck of a job down there with the Mountaineers. Big drive now for Southern Miss as Allman gets it out to the wide receiver, but we have a flag on the play. Marvin Young hauled the pass in for about a 9-yard reception. Let's see what the call is.
Holding on the offense. Half the distance for the goal. Repeat, first down.
Well,
it's not what you want right now.
It is not. You're running uphill as it is. Down 10 with 4:56 remaining in this football game.
There's Derek Nix. His team's done an unbelievable job without him today, but you can only wonder if the young man could still play, how they'd be. It's too bad.
Allman, Wally. He gets some of that back, about 5 yards, before Pinson brings him down. Talk about the penalties and its effect on the game. It helped Southern Miss to stay in this football game. 16 combined penalties, most ever in a Houston Bowl, Sean.
And the layoff from the last game of the season to the bowl game, you go get a little sloppy and a little carried away doing the things you're not supposed to, a little undisciplined.
Allman over the middle. Oh, that is tight end wide open. Bobby Garner, he's still running if that ball's down. About the 3rd or 4th pass now, critical pass that Allman is overthrown his wide receiver on.
Yeah, Mark, and we've talked about how gritty and tough Allman's played today coming off the bench, but there's been 4 throws today that he's had, and that would have been a huge play to the tight end. Down the field, put him in better field position. You can't miss the easy ones. Regardless of how well you played, it comes down to 5 or 6 snaps in a football game. You got to capitalize on those.
Allman completing just 2 of his last 8 pass attempts. 3rd and 11. Brings it down. Reed Cox fires it low and misses Johnson low. And inside, Darren Williams on the coverage. And now they've got to punt it away and hope their defense can come up with a turnover.
Yeah, hope somebody can knock this punt out of somebody's hands. Got a lot of good candidates for player of the game in this one, don't we, Mark?
We certainly do. Rod Davis, the middle linebacker, who has just been all over the field. Allman, the punter, who did a 56 and a 51-yard punt in his last 2. He needs another big one here. Good snap. And booms this. A high spiral. Davis from the 39. Smacked down. A 47-yard punt and a 4-yard return. Anthony Harris was the man to greet him after he caught the punt.
Got a flag on the play, too. Kevin Williams has also had a big day, especially in the second half. Obviously, Allman's been good, Mark, as far as Woods and Fields both. Be some interesting ones as we head down the final part of this game to pick the player of the game here.
Well, Tatum Bell,
yes,
longest career run of 88 yards.
Holding on the return, 10 yards, spot of the foul, first down.
Josh Fields
breaks the record of Cliff Kingsbury, you bet.
Well, providing assistance to our allies in more than 56 countries, that's the mission of the U.S. European Command. We welcome all of our soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines tuned into the Houston Bowl on AFN, the American Forces Network. We say happy birthday to UCOM. Now in its 50th year of service to our nation, happy holidays from all of us here at ESPN. We thank you so much for what you do for us.
Now look how cute that mom and dad got a heartbreaker there, don't they, Mark?
Yeah. That is
and obviously an Oklahoma State fan already.
Sweet Southern Belle.
Yes.
Seymour Shaw, tailback. Nowhere to go. Pushes the pile. Wiggles out to about the 34-yard line. How about Rashawn Woods? Is he a candidate for player of the game?
How can he not be? Well, just his presence alone on the field, Mark, dictates a lot of what a defense has to do. You know, he's over 140 or 50 yards receiving today, a bunch of catches, touchdown. There you see it, 9 receptions for a $164, 18-2, which, and remember, these numbers here add up to the regular season numbers, and this is the first year that statistics in a bowl game actually count towards statistics throughout the season. So they continue to roll up for Rashawn Woods. That's his 17th touchdown reception on the year.
He came in with 1,531 reception yards. He's had 8 games of 100 or more yards. And Shaw bangs it up inside. He had 226 yards and 3 touchdowns against the Sooners.
He played big against Nebraska. I mean, he's played well against teams where it's mattered. And he comes out, Mark, those are sick numbers is what they are. You know, it is a sick. There you see it. Fields to Woods, a perfect combination, as is ESPN. But sick numbers by Woods. I mean, when you're talking about almost now he's up to almost 17+ receiving yards this year, Mark. 17 touchdowns. Crazy. Good player, and he's going to be faced with the decision, do I stay or do I go to the National Football League after this season's over? And he's trying to find out where his draft status is now. Right. To see what he got to declare sometime in January.
Filed the papers with the NFL Advisory Board. He's hoping to make a decision by the 15th as Southern Miss now has called a timeout. Just a reminder, Capital One Bowl Week continues on ESPN with 2 more games up next. Nebraska at the Ole Miss Rebels clash in the Mainstay Independence Bowl. Then at 8 Eastern, Mel Roberson leads number 6 ranked Kansas State against the Arizona State Sun Devils, the 25th annual Pacific Life Holiday Bowl, Qualcomm Stadium in San Diego, California.
Hey, Mark, Kansas State in the Holiday Bowl?
Yes.
5 games, the last 5 games, 51-6 has been the average score, and it's been in their favor. So your boys are going to have to put some pressure on them in that Holiday Bowl because they could score. They probably kept my Trojans out of a national championship game with that loss in Manhattan earlier this year.
Fields under pressure, incomplete, intended for Denard. Don't count my Arizona State Sun Devils out.
Never.
That kid Walter can sling the ball now.
Yes, and Suggs, 22 sacks, an NC2A record. That's 3 seasons for some college guys. Man.
Terrell Paul put the pressure on Fields, was unable to complete the pass. That'll bring Farden on the field.
Other than about 3 plays in the second half, Mark, Southern Miss's defense has done their job.
41-yard average. This one a little end over end. Marvin Young doesn't field it. Doesn't hurt him too bad. Bounces around and down at about the 22-yard line. 40 yards on the punt for Farden. Now we have 2:55 remaining. Southern Miss trailing by 10 points, 23-33. Need a big play. You need it pretty quickly here.
Yes, you do. 2:55, still time. Now, if it was Oklahoma State that was down by 10, just because of the nature of their explosive offense, Mark, probably a little bit better idea what they do. But Allman's kept them in it, so if they can get a few big plays, they got a shot.
Allman has come up with some big plays today. Can't force anything under pressure. And this is where the big plays come. Out of the scramble. Goes down at the 25-yard line. Pickup of about 3 yards on the play before Kareem Smith closes it.
You can't huddle up here now. You got to get to a 2-minute situation. You got to push the envelope. There you go. And they're lining up. No huddle. Got to make this thing work quickly for you and be efficient.
Seymour Shaw Good day for him. Allman, plenty of time. Goes outside, almost intercepted by Darren Williams. Intended for Young. That'll stop the clock. 2:16 remaining now in the ballgame.
You have no choice here now, Mark. You got 2 downs to get this first down. You have to go for it. Down by 10.
Allman can buy time for you. A scrambler and a runner. That can break a defense down. You can get a big play out of that. 3rd and 7. Can't get outside. No, he does get out of the grass. Pulls it down again and then throws it. And overthrows Roy Handy. I don't know how he got out of the grasp of Antoine Smith.
Now, Mark, and you know what's interesting? When you've got some athleticism and your feet and you can move around, what you have tendency to do is leave the pocket before you need to. And he could have stepped up. He ran into trouble on the right side, was able to get out and keep the play alive. But sometimes your biggest strength becomes your biggest weakness because you rely on them so much, and they are going to punt. I thought they'd go for it here with 2 minutes to go and down by 10.
2:05 left. Allman. They call him in. I think that Oklahoma State right now would have a safe on, looking for any fake. Allman sends it deep. T.D. Bryant, a high punt, taking it to 31. Slips a couple of tackles and brought down at the 45-yard line. 14 yards on the return. Michael Bully, the outside linebacker in the defense, makes the tackle. So now you got to go all out. You got to take some chances if you're Tyrone Nix and the Southern Miss defense.
Yes, you do. And Southern and Mark, that's been their MO anyway. They're a team that likes to move around and pressure. But what you have to do now, you got to trust your corners to play man coverage, and you got to go all out, try to force a fumble in the backfield. You got to get after the quarterback. Truth of the matter is, I don't see that Oklahoma State's going to throw the ball here at all these last 3 downs before if they have to punt or get a first down.
Bell.
And there you go.
Gaping hole up the right side. Picks up 12, 13 yards. Enough for a first down before Pruitt, the free safety, hauls him down. Well, we've cast our votes, and there is your Capital One player of the game, Rashawn Woods. 9 receptions, 164 yards, and a touchdown. They're really able to do everything they do on offense based on how defenses handle that man right there.
That's exactly right. We saw the result of the Bell touchdown because of what he does. The game changes for the defense, and that's a unanimous choice right there, Rashawn Woods. Although there's a lot of worthy candidates, he was clearly the dominant player on the field today.
Fields also a record-breaking day here at the Houston Bowl, well over 300 yards. Bell picks his way through the defense, picks up a couple. And the clock continues to tick away. It's the Mainstay Independence Bowl. Nebraska against Eli Manning and Ole Miss. This Capital One Bowl week continues here on the worldwide leader.
Tune in to watch Eli Manning because we don't know if he's going to the NFL or not, Mark, and he's one of the great college quarterbacks we have, taken after brother and father. Very good football player.
So, Fields takes a knee. The clock ticks down, and the Sea of Orange, the over 30,000 Cowboy fans who made the trip here to Houston, rise to their feet.
Made it worth their trip. Very competitive game. I saw a lot of heart on Southern Miss's side. Played well, and they were undermanned a little bit. They did a great job. But Oklahoma State, Mark, as hot as any offense in the league, almost get to their average. They're averaging 34 points a game. They hit 33 with this performance today.
And that'll do it. The Oklahoma State University Cowboys, they were tested all the way down the wire, but they win it 33-23. Up next, the 2002 Mainstay Independence Bowl. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For Sean Salisbury, Tracy Wolfson, and our entire ESPN crew, I'm Mark Lowell. The summaries and stats of this game, you can log on to ESPN.com. Your home for college football on the internet. Now, let's join Jeff Hollinger for the Mainstay Independence Bowl. So long, everybody.